You know, Michael Cole lost his voice tonight during the Royal Rumble. So he and I actually have something in common because I still haven't gotten mine back yet. So you'll have to excuse me here if I sound a little bit different. But I couldn't help but chuckle when I heard Michael Cole struggling at the end of the show tonight to just speak because I know that pain. I'm living it right now. But tonight, WWE had over 70,000 people at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis for the 38th annual Royal Rumble. My favorite event of the year. Always love the Royal Rumble. Have a lot of fond memories. I was at the Royal Rumble a year ago. I was in Tampa. I was there for that show. Here I was back home watching just like all of you. And they claimed it was the third largest gate in the history of the company. As far as any of the single night WrestleManias, largest single night gate in the history of WWE, which is pretty impressive for a non-WrestleMania show. So it was a very big night for the company. Lots of big stars on the show, lots of big stars in the men's Royal Rumble match. By the way, how the hell did we go from having a 4-match card to having a 4-hour plus show? How does that work? How is this show like 4.5 hours long? We have 4 fucking matches on the entire show. At least, I'll say this, at least it started at 6 o'clock. Had this show started at 8 o'clock, I would not be very happy about that. So it was a very long show. But we had in the main event tonight a Royal Rumble match that was as star-studded as the Rumble has been in many, many years, right? You had so many different potential winners this year, which is one of the things that I loved coming into this Royal Rumble. You really couldn't predict for sure who was going to go over and who was going to go to WrestleMania. You could have made the argument for John Cena. You could have made the argument for Roman Reigns. You could have made the argument for CM Punk. But I told you, I've been saying it for the last couple of weeks. I said, don't sleep on Jey Uso. Like, he's not my pick to win. I was going with Punk. So I wasn't predicting that, I think he's definitely going to win. But I said, everybody is having these conversations and these predictions on their podcasts or amongst their friends and on social media. And I don't see anybody, including Jey Uso's name, in the conversation of potential winners of this Royal Rumble match. And it became pretty clear to me after Saturday night's main event, when he went in there against Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship and he lost again. And then he came out on Raw and he said, the ring general was just that damn good, but I know I can beat him. Right? That's what he came out. He didn't even wrestle a match. That was his big promo on Raw last Monday. I know I can beat him. And the way they've been playing up the fact for weeks now that, Jey Uso simply could not beat this man. Gunther has beaten him time and time again. He's very smug and arrogant about it, condescending. And I said, this is going somewhere. People need to have Jey Uso's name in the conversation of potential Royal Rumble winners, even though it would have to be considered an upset, as big of a star as he is. And as we saw tonight, one of the biggest upsets in Royal Rumble history, Jey Uso will take his place in the main event, one of the 2 main events, at WrestleMania in Las Vegas, and almost assuredly will be challenging Gunther again for the World Heavyweight Championship. And in the brief period of time that I had to get ready to go live here, and even in the chat here before I came on, I see a lot of hate about this finish. I see a lot of hate directed towards Jey Uso winning this Royal Rumble. A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people don't think that Jey Uso is a main event caliber performer to go to the main event of WrestleMania. Or they think that Gunther could do better as far as his challengers. But really, when you take a step back, let's look at a couple of things here, okay? Jey Uso may not be mistaken as the most dynamic in-ring performer in this company, okay? He's not. He's the super kick king. No one is going to mistake his in-ring prowess for the best of the best in WWE. But the one thing you cannot mistake is how fucking over this guy is right now. Every single week when he comes out, he has that entrance. You see the fans, You see the people on the concourse. You hear about all the merch that he's moving. And every single week, he makes the case for why he belongs in the World Championship picture. Now, the fact that he has already gone in there and lost multiple times to Gunther, clearly this was all designed as part of a story that they are going to pay off at WrestleMania this year, where he is almost guaranteed to walk in there as the challenger and walk out the new World Heavyweight Champion. And there's going to be a lot of people in Allegiant Stadium in April who are going to be yeeting and who are going to be very happy when he wins that world title because he's that over. So you may not like it, but you cannot deny how popular this guy is. And I could appreciate the fact that they actually went with an unpredictable finish to the Royal Rumble, because going into the Rumble, that's one of the things I loved about it this year, was how unpredictable it was. And they didn't even go with one of the three most frequently selected names as far as people who were going to make it to the main event at WrestleMania, right? Very few people would have chosen Jey Uso for that spot. But you heard that crowd tonight when he won. Didn't sound like too many people in that building were upset. And in one night, they had John Cena go in there, and John Cena got back in the ring because it came down to Jey Uso and John Cena. Another thing I liked about it, right? Could have gone either way. And they had John Cena get back into the ring when it was over and hug him and shake his hand and give him the big endorsement. So they're strapping the rocket to this guy. And they're rewarding him for all the work that he's put in and for all the results that he's yielded for this company. This is going to be his big moment now. This is going to be his big payoff. If you would have told me 4 years ago, when I was sitting here doing these streams, and we were all trapped at home, and I'm sitting here with my fucking 16 weeks without a haircut, and we're doing these streams every single week talking about the bloodline and talking about all this stuff. If you would have told me then that Jey Uso would be headlining a WrestleMania one day and winning a World Heavyweight Championship, I would have wanted to know what drugs you were taking. His ascent from tag team wrestler to where he is now is pretty remarkable. So he doesn't have to be my favorite, but I could appreciate them doing something a little bit different for the finish of this Rumble match and trying to tell this story where, you know what? I know I can beat that guy. I know I can go in there and I can beat Gunther. I just need one more shot. I said it during my Saturday night's main event review. I keep going on about how I want to see Sheamus win the Intercontinental title. How many fucking chances has Sheamus had to win that championship? How can I sit here and not be a hypocrite and say that, you know what? I want to see Sheamus go to WrestleMania and get another fucking match and win the Intercontinental title there, even though he's lost 11 times already. I want to see him go one more time, which I do. Well, how can I sit here and say that and in the same breath turn around and say, well, you know, Jey Uso's already lost 3 times to Gunther, and so, you know, you can't send him to WrestleMania for a 4th time, for a 4th match with this guy, because he's already been beaten. If the story works, you can tell that story. So yeah, I had a smirk on my face when this Rumble was over, because I kept telling you people, don't sleep on Jey Uso. But I thought, you know, it was a nice contrast in the men's Rumble match. And there was a lot going on in the men's Rumble match. And we're going to get into all of it. There was a lot of different stories that they kind of weaved into those final, 5 or 10 minutes of that match. So we're going to get into all of it. But it was a nice contrast to the very predictable finish that we got in the women's Royal Rumble match, because Charlotte Flair has punched her ticket to WrestleMania. And Charlotte Flair is going to be, she's shining up that Charlotte in the Bank briefcase. And she's going to be getting her championship match, likely against Tiffany Stratton in Las Vegas. I didn't pick her to win. I more so out of hope that they weren't going to just go with Charlotte Flair. She was the obvious choice. But they went with the obvious choice. In the men's Rumble, they didn't. So it was a nice contrast between those two matches. Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens, they went out there tonight in a ladder match, fucking killed each other. Kevin Owens took some very vicious bumps in this ladder match. as if he realized, you know what? I've lost so many of these at the Royal Rumble, so many title matches. I'm going to lose again. If I'm going to lose, you know what? I'm going to go out in a blaze of glory. This guy, I don't envy what his back and his neck and his body is going to feel like in the morning when he wakes up. These two guys went out there and they had a very violent ladder match with Cody Rhodes finally putting the stake in the heart of Kevin Owens. Now the question becomes, what is the direction for Cody heading into WrestleMania? Because if there's one thing that is very clear to me coming out of this show tonight, doesn't look like The Rock is wrestling at WrestleMania this year. Now, keep in mind, last year, The Rock showed up after the Rumble, right? It was like the week after, the Friday after. And that's when the shit hit the fan. So never say never. But no Rock on this show tonight. No surprise Rock entry in the Rumble, no appearance, no mention of him. I know people were like, oh, in the Netflix advertisement for the show, like you see Rock, he's in one of the numbers, like nothing with Rock on this show. So it looks like you could probably count him out as far as a match at WrestleMania this year. What does that mean for Cody Rhodes? Because we still have questions. We have some clarity as far as WrestleMania in some regard, but in other respects, we still don't know where some of the pieces are going to fall. Cody Rhodes in particular. Are they going to go in the direction of Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton? Where the hell was Randy Orton tonight? I'm starting to think that maybe the pile driver he took was a cover for a real injury. We haven't seen Randy Orton in months. He didn't show up in the ladder match. He didn't show up in the Rumble. Assuming he's going to be back for WrestleMania, maybe he'll be working Kevin Owens, but maybe they go Cody and Randy. Maybe John Cena, who was unsuccessful tonight, can still win the chamber. And remember all those reports about them wanting to do Cody Rhodes and John Cena for the WWE title at WrestleMania. Maybe that's still the play. Right? We don't know. Maybe Cody Rhodes and CM Punk is the play after the segment that we got at the end of Raw on Monday night, where they got you really excited to see Cody and Punk. Maybe they teased that match for a reason. So we still don't have those answers yet. And I suspect that we will find out very quickly what those answers are. So we're going to get into everything that happened here on this show. I got thoughts on all of it. We'll talk about the potential WrestleMania direction. And oh, by the way, something I've talked about recently on the podcast, WWE aired a commercial during the show tonight for their new show, WWE Evolve. They are reviving the Evolve name, which they acquired 5 years ago, in the form of a new show that's going to be airing on the streaming service Tubi TV, Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. And that kicks off on March 5th. Wednesdays at 8 p.m., you say? I'm sure that's just a coincidence. I'm sure that's just quite the coincidence. They have a new show on Wednesdays at 8. Anyway, funny how that works, isn't it? This is your Royal Rumble 2025 review. I am the Solomonster. Obviously a little under the weather, but still here with you in a good mood because I thought on the whole it was a very good show tonight. I know, again, there seems to be a lot of divided opinion about some of these Rumble matches. We'll talk about it, but on the whole, I enjoyed them. I don't think that we're talking about all-timers, but again, especially on the men's side, with a lot of the storytelling that they weaved in there and the storytelling that we had going into the match, different people that have different feuds going, Roman and Punk, Roman and Seth, Roman and Drew, Punk and Seth, and so on and so forth. It just made for a more intriguing match going in. And I thought they did a pretty good job of play. There were some weird moments in there, especially with McIntyre, which we'll talk about. But I thought on the whole, story-wise, they did a very effective job as far as at least the men's Rumble this year.
It's the amazing Gunther.
No, Gunther is with us.
Jerry Lawler loves Gunther the Magnificent. All hail Gunther.
David Thiering getting us started with a $50 Gunther Bomb. Hey, David, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Like and subscribe. We are rapidly approaching 84,000 subscribers here on the channel, so only you can help me get there. Super chats are open. We have a little goal in the live chat as well. So if you want to drop a super chat, let me know what you thought of the Rumble tonight. Get your questions and comments in. We will be going through your super chats a little bit later on. I will read them here. So go ahead and you can do that. Hey, Harpreet, welcome to the channel, my friend. That's right. That's right, the Willie. All hail. All hail Gunther. Stephanie McMahon was there. We've been seeing a lot of her over the past week. She's back. She's officially back. I don't know if she has an official title, but she is officially back in WWE. She's got a new show coming to ESPN, and anyway, they introduced her to open the show. She walked out, and she welcomed everybody to the 2025 Royal Rumble. We had Michael Cole, Pat McAfee, and Wade Barrett on commentary. And the first thing that I thought was, poor Corey Graves. Typically, Michael Cole and Corey Graves would handle the PLE announcing on these shows. And we all know the drama that went out a few weeks ago with Corey Graves. Everything seems to be smoothed over. He's part of the NXT announce team now. I thought maybe he would keep his gig, though, doing commentary for the PLEs. And so apparently the answer to that is no. And I don't even know if he'll have a role on WrestleMania. And I'm sure he's probably not very happy about that. But yes, he was not a part of the announce team tonight. Now, McAfee being there, they were in Indianapolis, and they're really crediting him with one of the big reasons why WWE even brought the Rumble there in the first place. Obviously, he's a big Indianapolis guy, so I understand him being there. But yes, no Corey on the show. But they open with the women's Royal Rumble match. They were doing 2-minute intervals. You know, sometimes they do 90 seconds. 2-minute intervals. You guys know the rules, right? I mean, you've seen your fair share of Rumbles before. But what they did this time was something a little bit different. And I think they did it for the men's too. I don't even remember. I think they did it for both Rumbles. But they took a page out of the ESPN playbook. And they had a ticker. Or not even a ticker, like a lower third on the bottom of the screen that would rotate various bits of information. So it would let us know who the next number is coming out. The countdown clock would be there. They would show various, statistics about different people. How many people are currently active in the ring? How many eliminations have there been? So I thought that was cool. I thought it was actually very helpful to have the constant reminder about what number was coming up next. Because sometimes you just forget, like, oh, what number was that? Like, what number is next? So it didn't really distract me too much. I thought that was pretty helpful. Io Sky got number 1. I was hoping that Io might pull it out. She was one of my picks. As soon as I saw her come out at number 1, I said, she ain't winning this match. And then out at number 2 was Liv Morgan. And the first sign in the crowd that is visible on the hard camera, as soon as this match begins, Meltzer fears facts. I couldn't tell if it was Eric Bischoff kind of slumped down with his hat over his head, holding the sign up. He seems kind of obsessed. But I just thought that was funny that's the first thing that we see is a sign about Dave Meltzer. So Roxanne Perez was in at number 3 in what they said was her 3rd Royal Rumble appearance. I remember her making one previous appearance. I don't know where the other one came from. I have no memory of that whatsoever, but apparently this was her 3rd. Lyra Valkyria, the Women's Intercontinental Champion, she was in at number 4. She delivered one suplex and had a wardrobe malfunction. I think what happened is her collar or whatever, the top part of her top, it snapped, came off. And so she ended up in the corner trying to fix herself. So from the Women's Intercontinental Champion, We go to the Women's United States Champion at number 5, Chelsea Green. And after a quick little run for herself, all the other ladies, they ganged up on Chelsea and they beat her down. Still no eliminations at this point. Number 6 made her way out. That was B-Fab. Number 7 was Ivy Nile, representing American Made, who immediately hit a double German suplex to Chelsea and Roxanne. Yeah, you forget, she's kind of a tiny woman in stature, but she's very strong. Number 8 was Zoe Stark, representing the Pure Fusion Collective. I know that's all of your favorite factions. Number 9, Lash Legend from NXT. And she sprinted down to the ring. I have to mention this. So this was a common occurrence all throughout the show. But almost every single woman in this match sprinted to the ring because this aisle was so fucking long. And clearly they were telling people, like, when you go out there, run to the ring. Because there's only so much time, between you coming out and the next person, and we got to keep things moving. So, yeah, it's a very long aisleway. But, get used to it because they're going to be bringing a WrestleMania there in a few years, and it's going to be the same thing. So anyway, she sprints down to the ring. She hits some power moves, and then there were a couple of sloppy spots. And then the first elimination of the night goes to Chelsea Green for dumping B-Fab out of the ring. Number 10 was Bianca Belair, a former Royal Rumble winner. She won it back in 2021 in front of no fans. There was a kind of a wacky sequence, but it got over in front of the live crowd, where she did the 10 punches in the corner, and then somebody would try to interrupt. So she would backflip over them and then do it to them. And this happened about half a dozen times. So kind of goofy, but again, it got over in front of the live crowd. Shayna Baszler was in at number 11 from the Pure Fusion Collective. So that makes 2 in the ring from PFC. Zoe Stark tried a springboard move. She slipped, but she landed on her feet and then basically just ran. So she recovered nicely from the slip up there. Ran at Valkyria. Ivy Nile then eliminated Lyra and motioned that she was coming for her title. And that makes sense. Given what they were teasing on Raw Monday night, we already got a tease in a backstage segment that this was going to be a future title match. So then Bayley, last year's Royal Rumble winner, was out to the ring next at number 12. And we very briefly got a stare down between her and Io Sky, but it was interrupted before they could touch. Sonya Deville completed the Pure Fusion Collective at number 13, their little triad. Maxine Dupree was in at number 14. Ivy Nile wanted a piece of her, right? Them being former friends and all. And so Maxine just kicks her ass. Maxine's hitting all these moves and gave her a German suplex and then gave her a reverse caterpillar and dumped her out of the ring. So she had her way with this woman. And PFC then all ganged up on Maxine. And they dumped her out of the ring. Naomi was out next at number 15 after going an hour in last year's Royal Rumble. Now remember, Naomi returned to the company in the Rumble last year, and she had a great showing. So she was out at number 15, which meant that we had both women's tag team champions out there. So the number 1, number 2, and number 3 entrants were all still out there. All 3 members of PFC, they got dumped out. Basically at the same time on different sides of the ring by 3 different people. So I was trying to think if there has ever been another example, maybe with a tag team, but has there ever been another example of a faction, of a group, all being eliminated simultaneously like that? I can't think of one. So at least they'll always have that to hang their hat on. But, given that it's the Pure Fusion Collective, it kind of makes sense. Jada Parker from NXT was number 16. Chelsea eliminated Lash Legend. Number 17 was Piper Niven, and Chelsea hid behind her in the ring when they confronted Bianca and Naomi. But then a couple of minutes later, Piper accidentally collided with Chelsea on the apron and eliminated her. So Natalya was in at number 18. She's been in every single Women's Rumble so far. And then at number 19, the worst kept secret in wrestling, out to the ring in the Rumble for the second year in a row, Jordynne Grace, the former TNA Knockouts champion, who made a surprise appearance in last year's Rumble in what I believe was a cameo that was put together by Scott D'Amore. And that's probably the number one reason why she wanted out of the company, was the firing of Scott D'Amore. And she actually told the story this past week to Chris Van Vliet. Her contract with TNA was not supposed to end until October of this year. But they were able to negotiate it where if you stay for this year, being last year, we'll let you go in January. So they came to that understanding. I'm sure, Rey Fenix is punching air right now, but they made it very clear when she came out here on commentary that unlike last year, this year, she's out there as an official member of the WWE roster. She is a full-time, we don't know which brand. But she is officially a member of, hopefully, the main roster, because there's no need for her to go back to NXT. So she eliminated Jada Parker. Then she got Piper Niven up on her shoulders, which got a huge reaction, and she delivered a Death Valley driver. Grace and Naomi, they came face to face, and they hugged. A lot of history between them going back to their days in TNA. But then Bianca comes over and pulls Jordynne Grace away, and then she looks at Naomi like, what are you doing? And she goes to eliminate Jordynne Grace, dumps her over the top, but she held on, and she crawled back in. Michin was in at number 20. And then number 21. Is he with us here? Is he with us in the live chat? This is his moment right here. I immediately thought of Bliss Fan. As soon as this happened, I thought of Bliss Fan. Number 21 was Alexa Bliss. And she came out and got a huge reaction. One of the biggest reactions all night. And she was in her dark Alexa makeup. But I wouldn't say she was acting dark. Like, she had a smile on her face. She was very happy to be back. Very happy to be there. This was her first appearance in 2 years. Last time we saw her was the Royal Rumble show in 2023. And a lot has changed in the company since then, both behind the scenes, on camera, in the women's division, in management. It's very different than it was the last time that we had her on TV. But question is, did they work us? Because all the reports over the last week or so were that she and WWE, and really I think it was a story broken by Mike Johnson on PW Insider, but the reports were that she and WWE had come to an impasse because she wanted to have a new contract and get paid more money. And WWE was like, no, you've been gone for 2 years and we want you back on your existing deal. And they were at a stalemate. And the belief is that she wasn't going to be there tonight. And then there she is in the Rumble match. So, was it a work or was it a case where they worked things out? It could very well be a case where there was a little something, but like Corey Graves, you expect that they're going to work it out in the end. And in this case, they worked it out quietly, let people think she wasn't going to be there. That way it's more shocking when she shows up. That's what I tend to believe. But if they did work things out, they're using it to take a dig at the sheets. Because on commentary, you had Pat McAfee telling Michael Cole, don't listen to the dirt sheets, Cole. Don't listen to the dirt sheets. And Michael Cole's like, well, the internet told me she wasn't going to be here. And now she's here. Whatever. By the way, as soon as she walked out, you went to WWEshop.com. They already had a brand new Lily doll on WWE Shop. That fucking doll. And I'm sure they're going to sell a whole bunch of them. But they already have the new doll. Like, the match wasn't even over yet. It's like Penta, right? His merch was up before he even debuted, like earlier that day. So anyway, she had a jacket on when she walked out. And I don't know how many people picked up on it, but on the back of the jacket was a message that said friend and then the number 4 and then ever, which obviously was her way of paying tribute to the late Bray Wyatt. So she got in there and she was, hitting all of her signature moves. And from there, it was on to number 22, which was Zelina Vega. She hit a code red to Jordynne Grace off the ropes. And Wade Barrett gave a shout out to the innovator of the code red, the one and only, the amazing Red. Shout out to Red. Number 23 was Candice LeRae. Number 24 was Stephanie Vaquer from NXT. And number 25, another surprise, in a long list of them here in this match, the Hall of Famer, Trish Stratus, comes out. Trish was out there wearing one of her original outfits that she wore in 2000 when she first debuted and she was managing Test and Albert, which I thought was kind of cool. So she gets in the ring and she's working some spots with Jordynne Grace. She hit her Stratusfaction Bulldog to Natty. Thank you, Trish. I have to mention that. Thank you, Trish. Pardon me. I have to take a sip of my water to lubricate here for all of you. I only lubricate for you. I don't lubricate for anybody else. But if we're going to do this here, I have to lubricate for you. It's just the way it is. So number 26, I took a great interest in number 26. Now, this time of year, a lot of people do Royal Rumble pools, right? Among friends or in our Facebook group every year. We do a Royal Rumble pool. And everybody gets assigned a random number. So my number this year was 26. So I was pulling for number 26 in the men's rumble and the women's rumble. And I'm like in Vegas, man. I'm blowing on the dice, right? I'm all lubricated. And I'm throwing the dice and I'm like, all right, number 26. Lucky 26 is my number. Out at number 26, Raquel Rodriguez. And my reaction was simply, fuck. Well, there's always the men's rumble. Because we ain't winning shit here with number 26. But Liv Morgan was still in there. She came in the number 2 spot. So Liv now had an ally in the match. Liv hit a code breaker on the apron to Natty. Natty fell to the floor. She was eliminated. And then she did the same to Alexa Bliss. And Alexa Bliss was eliminated. And Bliss fan, again, I thought of you. And I just thought to myself, from pleasure to pain in the blink of an eye. Although I would think Bliss fan's probably pretty happy, though. I mean, you got to be happy, okay? You can't be greedy. I know you wanted Alexa back. You got her back. You got to be happy. And then it happened. Number 27. Charlotte Flair. And you know it's Charlotte Flair because she got pyro. The only 2 people who got fucking pyro tonight, making an entrance in the Royal Rumble, Charlotte Flair and Roman Reigns. So out comes Charlotte Flair. Over a year, she has been out of action, right? She destroyed her knee, ACL, just multiple injuries to her knee. So over a year later now, she has been rebuilt. She is now back. And she took her sweet time coming down to the ring, too. Everybody else was sprinting down to the ring. And Charlotte's like, yeah, I'm not doing that shit. I'm going to take my time. I got my robe. I'm going to pose. She gets in. She has a brace now on her left knee. She doled out chops to nearly everybody in the match. She eliminated Michin. Grace and Vicaire, they got her up for a stalling vertical suplex. But Charlotte countered out of it into a DDT to both women. And she eliminated Piper Niven. Entry number 28 was out next. It was Julia, the NXT Women's Champion. And we got a battle between Julia and Io, who knocked each other out, by the way. I think it was on kicks, but they knocked each other out. I need that match one day, okay? Please and thank you. That's all I asked for. When she got back up, Julia went at it with Jordynne Grace, kneed her to the face, off the apron, and Jordynne Grace was gone. Eliminated by the NXT Women's Champion, which has me wondering if, in fact, they will have her on NXT and not the main roster, which, again, I think would be a mistake. I think she would be better used. And when I say better used, I think they could use her more so on the main roster, because they're stacked with women's talent, especially in the the Performance Center and NXT. And she spent time there already. So I just feel like it would be kind of redundant to just send her back there. Not that she can't have great matches with all these people, but hopefully we'll get her on the main roster. I hope. So then, number 29 was out next. And by process of elimination, you had to know she was on her way. Nia Jax, everyone's favorite. Nia Jax made her way out. And Nia did not even get to the ring before she eliminated Zelina Vega, who was out on the apron. She got into the ring and immediately went face-to-face with Trish, but not before Trish eliminated Candice. Nia got Trish out to the apron. Trish, though, was still trying to pull her out. Candice, though, grabbed at Trish's leg. Trish kicked her away. Nia knocked Trish off the apron. Trish Stratus was eliminated. And then it was time for number 30. I'll bet a lot of you were thinking Becky Lynch was coming out here, right? You were thinking that the Irish lass kicker was on her way out, but you would be wrong. Number 30, back in WWE, Nikki Bella. I know you're all very excited about this. I'm very excited about this just because it's not Brie mode. We didn't hear Brie mode. It's the other one. Her first appearance in the ring at all, and in a Rumble in 3 years. And we already knew she was likely on her way back. There's been stories. TMZ had a story about it. She's back. This is not a one-off. This is not a cameo like 3 years ago. She's back. And again, they got merch for her up on WWE Shop as well. Fearless Nikki. So the Bella Army will be very happy. She got into the ring and joined the other women in surrounding Nia, and they all ganged up on her, but Nia did the King Kong spot where she exploded and everybody fell down. There was a wild spot. This I didn't like. This I did not like. There was a wild spot where a bunch of people wound up on the apron. And thanks mostly to Nia, they all ended up eliminated, like in one fell swoop. So just like that, Stephanie Vicaire, gone. Io Sky, gone. Bianca Belair, gone. Naomi, gone. Raquel, gone. All eliminated. And Jax then eliminated Liv Morgan soon after that. Roxanne eliminated Julia after that. This all happened very fast. I thought this was a very dumb way to get rid of some of the biggest names in this match. I just didn't like the way they did it. You know, it was almost like I didn't even realize at first that Io had been dumped. It was almost like lost in the noise of it all. And I think even on commentary, one of the announcers mentioned like, oh, is Io gone? So that I didn't like. Jax was trying to eliminate Bayley. Nikki went to attack. Nia moved. Nikki eliminated Bayley. So Nia then eliminated Nikki Bella. And we were down to the final three. Charlotte Flair, Nia Jax, and Roxanne Perez. Not a bad spot for Roxanne to be in. But unfortunately, it made the finish very predictable. Which is one of the things I loved about the men's match. It was anything but. But once you saw the final three, okay, nobody believed that Nia Jax or Roxanne Perez were winning this fucking match, okay? If you say so, you're lying to yourself. So that's the other thing I didn't like about it, was that it pretty much telegraphed the entire finish here. Now, I can understand them not wanting other baby faces in the ring to potentially take away from Charlotte and her reaction. Because if you have a fan favorite in there like Io, let's say Io's in the final three, right? You got Charlotte, Io, and let's just say Nia, right? To balance it out with one great heel. There's going to be a large chunk of that audience that's going to want to see Io Sky win this match. Not even that they hate Charlotte or they would necessarily boo her, but they really want to see Io win. Because she was very over in this match. There was one spot where she was almost eliminated and held on and everybody cheered. So I get that. I get not wanting to have any other strong baby faces in there to detract, from the reaction that Charlotte might get. Nia is easily hateable, so having her in the final three was very smart. But the match effectively died for me. Once Bianca and Io were gone, it effectively died. Roxanne and Nia were fighting by the ropes when Flair shoved Nia over the rope to eliminate her. And Flair followed up by booting Roxanne off the apron to eliminate her and winning her second Royal Rumble match, her first in 5 years, at the 70-minute mark. And the crowd, they did cheer for her. I don't want to make it sound like the crowd, booed Charlotte winning, or I'm sure there were people in the crowd who were probably like, but she got a great reaction. People were happy to see her back. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. And I don't know what her role is going to be, heel or babyface, going into Mania, but if she's going to be challenging Tiffany, whether or not WWE wants her to be a heel or not, she's going to be the heel. Because even though Tiffany Stratton is still going around acting like a heel, the people are largely cheering her. If you give them the choice, I just don't see the majority of people booing Tiffany and cheering Charlotte over her. That whole dynamic and how they handle that is going to be very interesting. But I don't see Charlotte, choosing Rhea and just running that match back again. They had a great match 2 years ago. But Charlotte and Tiffany is clearly the way to go. Let's be honest here, okay? When they announced that Charlotte Flair was returning and she was going to return in the Royal Rumble, this was inevitable. Nobody should be shocked by this. And I don't think people are shocked, which is why it was so predictable. But we know this was pretty much a foregone conclusion. I was holding out hope that they would take a different route. They wouldn't go the predictable route. Find another way to get this woman the championship match that we all know she's going to get at WrestleMania. She's going to cash in that Charlotte in the bank. We all know it. But she doesn't have to win the Rumble to do it. Or the Chamber, right? I mean, they could decide a number one contender any number of ways. That's what I was hoping for. That's why I was disappointed when this was over. I just wanted them to go a different way with it. And unfortunately, they didn't do that. I thought that on the whole, this was one of the more enjoyable women's Rumbles that they've done, mainly because of the surprise entrance. We had Julia and Roxanne. Jordan Grace, not much of a surprise. Most people guessed straight off that she would be in there, but still, it was a surprise. Trish, Alexa was a genuine surprise for a lot of people. It didn't really pick up, though, I'd say, until about halfway in. Alexa, what is her future now? Are they going to go and do something with Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan? Are they going to move Alexa Bliss where the Wyatt Six went, which is SmackDown, and have her affiliated with them in some way? We don't even know what's going on with the Wyatt Six. We haven't seen the Wyatt Six even debut on SmackDown yet. Apparently one of them is injured. I don't know if it's Bo Dallas or who it is. But apparently there's an injury, and that's what's preventing them from, kind of re-debuting them on TV. So I don't know if she'll be associated with them or not. I would say no, at least initially. You could always, work her into that whole story if you want to. But as little as, we see them on TV, I would think they're going to want Alexa to have a greater presence on television. So I almost feel like inserting her into that story would be detrimental to her. And she's better off kind of doing her own thing, which is what I suspect she'll end up doing. Roxanne Perez, she sets the new record for longest women's Rumble stay, entering from the number 3 spot. I thought it was a pleasant surprise to see her in there as the runner-up at the end. I wasn't expecting that. So there's some big things coming for her. If anything, I was surprised they didn't have her eliminate Bayley to put more heat on their feud. But they did have her eliminate Julia. And there is a triple threat match coming up at Vengeance Day in a few weeks where Julia is defending against Bayley and Roxanne. So at least that made sense. But also interesting, who was not in the Rumble? No Becky Lynch. No Jade Cargill. No AJ Lee, which I wasn't expecting, but every year now, people are begging for AJ Lee, and they're asking CM Punk, is AJ going to come back? Is AJ? Yeah, you know what? AJ did come back tonight. AJ Styles came back. Stop asking about AJ Lee. If AJ Lee wanted to come back, she would have been back by now. I still thought it was a good number of surprises. Far better than what we got in the men's Rumble. They showed The Godfather in the crowd. Mickie James, who's part of this new LFG reality show that they're filming right now. She's one of the coaches, I guess. And Kurt Angle was there with his wife and his daughter. So they were among the luminaries in the crowd tonight. We had DIY defending the WWE Tag Team Championships against the former champions, the Motor City Machine Guns. This was best 2 out of 3 falls. And this was the first time that the tag team titles on either brand have been defended on a PLE since they were split at WrestleMania last year. That is pathetic. You have 2 sets of tag team titles, and you can't find time for them a handful of times each year on your big shows. Crowd was comatose for a good chunk of this match up until the final few minutes. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe it has to do with the way you position your tag team titles. Apparently, they're not important enough to be on your big shows. Which is too bad that the crowd was quiet for most of this, because I thought this was a very good match. The Guns cleared DIY from the ring, hit them with simultaneous sliding kicks. Alex Shelley held the ropes open while Chris Sabin hit a suicide dive out onto Gargano and Ciampa. They did a very clever spot here for the first fall of this match.
Look, everyone, it's Samoa Bro.
Hey, Kyle, thank you for the Samoa Bro. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. So they did a very clever spot here where Ciampa reached for the tag, and as he dove for the tag, Johnny Gargano pulled his hand back as if he was turning on him, right? But he wasn't. He pulled his hand back, and he climbed into the ring anyway, as if he had made the tag, but he didn't make the tag. But Alex Shelley thought that he did. So he went after Gargano thinking that he was the legal man, but Ciampa was the legal man. And so Ciampa comes in and he drills Shelley with a knee strike, and he pinned him to win the first fall. Clever the way they did that. Not so great is the fact that we got the first fall 3 minutes into this match. And I could tell right then, like, okay, This may get some time, but this is not going to get the time I was hoping it would get. When you do the first fall 3 minutes into the match, it's usually not a great sign. So DIY hit a shatter machine on Shelley for a near fall. Gargano went for a slingshot spear. He got caught by a kick from Alex Shelley. Sabin tagged in. He hit a tornado DDT on Gargano. Shelley tagged in, and the Guns hit their skull and bones finish on Johnny Gargano before Shelley pinned him. This was 9 minutes into the match. And so now we were even at 1 fall apiece. Ciampa hit Project Ciampa on Sabin for a near fall. The Machine Guns took control. They hit a blockbuster powerbomb combo on Ciampa. Shelley had Ciampa beat. Gargano shoved Sabin into Shelley to break up the pin. Gargano then accidentally took out Ciampa. The Guns set up for Skull and Bones when all of a sudden, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins show up at ringside wearing these black hoodies. Because at first you couldn't tell who it was. They had the hood up. You couldn't see who it was. They're wearing hoodies. Ford distracts the referee. Dawkins hits Shelley with a crutch. He's been walking around with a crutch because they were attacked on television. Like at this point, it was probably a month and a half ago. But he's been dealing with an injury. So he takes his crutch and hits him with it. DIY then hits their meet in the middle finish to Alex Shelley, and Ciampa pins him to retain the titles 14 minutes into this match. After the match is over, Gargano and Ciampa, they were celebrating their win when Ford and Dawkins attacked them as well with that crutch and left them laying, and then the Street Profits posed with the WWE Tag Team titles. I liked how they did that first fall, but again, I wish that the crowd was more up for this match. Unfortunately, they weren't, but, you know, look, you have a PLE here. This show had 4 matches, okay? This show went 4.5 hours, by the way, or almost 4.5 hours. And you have 4 matches on the show. And you are featuring the tag team champions who never have the chance to be featured on a major show like this. They had plenty of time to where they could have given these guys up to 20 minutes to go out there and put together the kind of match that you know these two teams can go out there and put together. And I felt like the match was just really getting good when it just ended. And they did that finish with the Street Profits. If you're not even going to give these guys 15 minutes, then don't make it a 2 out of 3 falls match. Why did this have to be 2 out of 3 falls? I mean, a 2 out of 3 falls match that goes less than 15 minutes on a show where you have all this time, I don't understand that. And crowd was really getting into the Machine Guns offense there in those last couple minutes. And like I said, it was just over at that point. So that part of it sucked. As far as the Street Profits, I know some people were upset with the finish, or they feel like it doesn't really make any sense. It actually does. You know, the way I look at it, the Street Profits, they don't like the Machine Guns. The Machine Guns came in and they feel like they were handed a championship match, which they were 2 weeks into their run. Well, it might not have even been 2. It might have been a week. So they have every right to be resentful of that. So they don't like those guys to begin with. But they also are not stupid, and they know that DIY are the ones who attack them. So they cost the Machine Guns the titles so they don't get them back. And then they attack the champions to let them know we're coming for our titles. Makes sense to me. I don't know if they did it the way they did to try to establish them as a heel team. I mean, I didn't get the sense this was a heel turn. But if it was, you know, when they posed with those titles at the end, they got cheered. You would think they learned their lesson after they tried to turn the Profits and Bobby Lashley heel the last time. That didn't work out too well. So anyway, we'll see if they are finally going to collect on those titles. The Street Profits have not been tag team champions in over 4 years, which is shocking to me. I mean, they've been there the whole time. Not one time in 4 years. I mean, they were champions, but has it really been that long? It's crazy. So maybe they're saving something for WrestleMania. So like I said, they had a lot of time to kill in between matches on this show. And among the things they did to waste time before the next match was show highlights from Pat McAfee's football career with the Colts. And they aired footage of McAfee completing a pass during a fake punt play against the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I'm sure is just salt in the wound for Corey Graves. Corey Graves is like Mr. Pittsburgh. He's probably watching that going, you motherfucker. You motherfucker. So they also showed McAfee hitting a Denver Broncos returner to knock him out of bounds. Who gives a shit? I couldn't bring myself to care about any of this. They showed Ron Simmons in the crowd. They showed Rick Steiner in the crowd. And of course, who got the biggest reaction? Rob Van Dam, who was looking good, in good shape. Looks like he could have had a cameo in the Rumble if he wanted one. So he was there with his wife, Katie Forbes. And then, this was the funniest part of all. So they show the three of them, right? And then, like at random, they cut to John Cougar Mellencamp, who is in attendance at the Royal Rumble, and he is sitting there. And he did not look thrilled at all about them putting him on camera. He kept like going like this, like almost like, get that fucking camera off me. And I'm like, how random. Like we go from Ron Simmons, right, to Rob Van Dam to John Mellencamp. Just happens to be there. Is he even a wrestling fan? It's got to be a TKO thing, right? They put the word out to get celebrities to come in. It's got to be. It's got to be. Oh, man. Yeah, he did. He looked annoyed, right? He looked annoyed. Come on. Pink houses, man. Pink houses, Cherry Bomb, Jack and Diane. Who doesn't love Mellencamp? Come on. We had the ladder match. Hey, there. See that guy right there on your screen? He was in the next match for the WWE Championship with the logo belt and the winged eagle hanging high above the ring. Cody Rhodes, one-on-one with Kevin Owens. And both men actually entered with their belts, despite Shawn Michaels taking the belts from them on Saturday night's main event last weekend. Although Owens, he took the winged eagle back on SmackDown last night. I don't know when Cody got his belt back, but he was wearing it on his way to the ring. So, other than the photo op, that's literally the only reason why they had Shawn take those belts from them last weekend. It was literally just to get that photo op. So, an interesting little statistic here as it relates to Kevin Owens. No man has ever had more title matches at the Royal Rumble than Kevin Owens. 6 of those for world championships, okay? If you include the Royal Rumble match itself in 2016. Because if you remember, the WWE title was vacant. So the title was on the line in that Rumble match. Owens was in that match. So we had all those matches, plus one United States Championship match and one Intercontinental Championship match. A great match with Dean Ambrose. Do you know how many of those matches he actually got his hand raised in? 1. Including tonight. 1. Not a very good record for Kevin Owens. So the match quickly spilled outside the ring. Owens slammed Cody onto the bars in between the two sides. So basically the ladder in the aisleway, that's got the bars in between. And he slammed Cody, it basically broke the bars in between the ladder. So Cody fought back, and they fought into the crowd. Cody hit Owens with a beer. Owens grabbed a camera. He pulled Cody's head into the camera. Back at ringside, Owens pulled a ladder out from underneath the ring, and he leaned it up against the apron. He tossed Cody onto the ladder, and then he set up a ladder in the middle of the ring. He made a play for the belt, or the belts. Cody, though, was able to get back in and cut him off. So Owens went back on the offensive. He pulled another ladder out, and he made a bridge from the apron to the announce desk. Cody came to life, and he ran Owens into the ring steps. Cody got back into the ring. He set up a ladder underneath the belts, and Owens got back in. He had a small step ladder. He had the Hornswoggle ladder. I don't know where he got this from, but he batters Cody with the step ladder. Then he sets it up, and he climbs it, and he teases that he's going to dive off of it. But instead, he climbs down, and he got booed. People really wanted to see that. I wanted to see it. A little while later, Cody made a play for the belts. He got his hands on the hook that was holding both titles. Owens pulled his feet off the ladder, and so Cody now is hanging from the giant hook that is swinging back and forth. Cody's able to plant his feet, though, back on the ladder. Owens yanked him off, caught him in a powerbomb position, and dumped him on the back of his head. So Cody fought back. And he sets up a ladder, and he breaks off one of the rungs of the ladder with his foot. And he battered Owens with the piece of the ladder till Owens was able to stop him with a super kick. Owens then set up for a pile driver. Cody backdropped him onto the top part of the ladder. The ladder was on its side. So you got to picture this, right? He backdrops Owens and just spine first right onto the ladder. I don't even know why. Why would you even want to take a spot like that? Like, why? I just feel like that's one of those things where probably not even 20 years, like in 10 years.
It's the amazing Gunther.
You're going to regret that.
Jerry Lawler loves Gunther the Magnificent. All hail Gunther.
Hey, Natasha, thank you for the $50 Gunther bomb. Here we got one more that we need to meet our goal for tonight. Natasha, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So anyway, they showed it in slow-mo, and it looked even worse. It did not look fun to take at all. Cody made a play for the belts. Owens, though, he recovered. He pulled him off the ladder, and he powerbombed him onto another ladder that was laying over, like across the bottom rope in the corner. It looked like the back of Cody's head clipped the ladder. So Owens went for the belts. Cody, though, got up and he stopped him. Owens made a ladder bridge over a taller ladder in the middle of the ring and the bottom rope, and he got Cody on the bridge. Owens went to the ropes. Cody popped up, though, and he joined him on the ropes, and he grabbed Cody, and he gave Cody a fisherman's buster onto the ladder bridge, which looked like it fucking sucked. And Owens himself, even though he hit the move, he came up holding the back of his head. Both men were basically dead on the mat. So here comes Nick Aldis, the general manager of SmackDown, a bunch of producers and a bunch of referees. And they all show up at ringside, and they're checking on both men. Sami Zayn shows up, right? Okay, so now we were wondering, is Sami Zayn going to show up? Is he going to help Kevin Owens? That was one of those stories, right? Coming into this match. So Sami is there, and obviously he looks very concerned. He's going over to check on his friend. And then he goes over to check on Cody and make sure he's breathing and make sure he's alive. And he goes back over to Owens to check on him again. Owens eventually is able to get back to his feet. He goes to give Cody a stunner. Cody counters into a crossroads, and he dumps Kevin Owens. Cody goes out to ringside. He brings Owens with him. He slams his head on top of the announce desk over and over again, and then into the ring post, the casing around the ring post. And you could tell that Owens was, he was taking a moment to get a little color because they kept the camera off of him. And when they put the camera on him, Owens was bleeding. So Cody climbs up on top of the announce desk and he hits Owens with some punches and he's asking him, is this what you wanted? Right? Is this what you wanted? Owens hit Cody with a low blow and he's going for a package pile driver. It looks like he's going to deliver a package pile driver onto this fucking ladder at ringside. Cody blocks it. And instead, Cody counters into an Alabama slam onto the ladder bridge that extends from the announce desk to the apron. Now, if you've ever seen an Alabama slam in the ring, right? And anybody, it could be Hardcore Holly, who was the first person I can remember really using that move consistently. And he certainly didn't, when he hit that move, he didn't hold back. Tiffany Stratton uses it. It's a tough move to take, if you don't put your hands behind your head because your head just whiplashes off the mat, right? I mean, you could easily get concussed. Now imagine taking that fucking move onto a ladder bridge. That's what Kevin Owens did. And the way he landed, because he kind of folded up, his head was stuck like in between the rungs of the ladder. He was just like, he was done, right? He looked like he was finished. And he was, because Cody went into the ring, climbed the ladder, and I was watching Sami. I wanted to see if Sami Zayn was going to get in the ring and stop him, but he never did. He just watched Cody. As Cody ascended the ladder, unhooked the WWE title, he unhooked the Winged Eagle, and Cody Rhodes retains the WWE Championship. Hey, Intella Eximus. No, I didn't see your sound off sign, man. Did you take a picture of it? Tweet it to me. I didn't see it. Thank you, brother, though. I always appreciate the people who, and they try to get it on like the hard cam, but even if they can't, like represent the podcast when they go to these shows, whether it's a sign or a t-shirt or whatever it is. I always think that's very cool. So thank you, brother. So Owens was still laid out at ringside, all bloody. The medics and the officials are there checking on him. And Cody eventually climbed up on top of the announce desk. He posed with both belts as a bloody and dazed Kevin Owens sat up, like just below him on the floor. As I said before, in 6 world championship matches at the Royal Rumble, Kevin Owens has only won once. That's it. That was when he retained the Universal title against Roman Reigns in 2017. Only to then lose it to fucking Goldberg, right? We all remember that. Tonight, I'm guessing that he figured, well, if I'm losing again, then you know what? I'm just going to go balls to the wall. If I'm going to lose, then I'm going to go out in a violent spectacle. And I don't want to sit here and say it was as violent and crazy as like Swerve Strickland and Hangman in their Texas death match. Like WWE wouldn't even allow that. But by WWE standards, like some of these bumps were fucking brutal. And they let him get color, which was fine because I feel like in a match like this, which is a grudge match, think of the bitter rivalry that has developed between these two men in these last couple of months, or like 3 months. If you are going to utilize blood intentionally, this is the kind of match that you do it in, right? A violent grudge match, just like Hell in a Cell, Punk and McIntyre, double juice. Even if the McIntyre one was hard way, but there are situations like that where it can be very effective if you use that sort of thing sparingly. So I thought it was very effective here. I hope that he's okay and he's not legitimately hurt because he took some very hellacious bumps on the back of his head and neck. So I hope that Owens is okay. But I mean, as ladder matches go, this will go down as one of the excellent ones. And there have been some great ladder matches, even at the Royal Rumble. Yeah, I always go back to Jericho and Benoit in 2001. And that one was not as violent as this. But that's one of the all-time great Royal Rumble matches. This one is up there in that territory. And Kevin Owens is I don't want to take anything away from Cody, but the abuse that Kevin Owens took here was really the highlight of the match. I mean, he left it all out there. And hopefully they'll have something good for him to sink his teeth into heading into WrestleMania. It would seem to me that Owens is going to have an issue with Sami Zayn not stopping Cody from climbing that ladder and pulling those title belts down. Because all he did was stand there and watch Cody. If I'm Kevin Owens, right, who's duplicitous anyway, I mean, he never really gave a shit. He was buttering up Sami on TV last week just to curry favor with him to have somebody watch his back. He doesn't give a fuck about Sami Zayn. So this is all going to blow up now between him and Sami. Where, if anywhere, does Randy Orton fit into all this? Are we going to get anything with Owens and Orton? I don't know. I don't know when we're going to get Randy Orton back. But right now, the issue is clearly going to be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. My only question is that the Elimination Chamber match for Toronto, or is that a WrestleMania match? And that will completely depend upon whether or not they plan to do Randy Orton against Kevin Owens. If they're going to do that, that's the WrestleMania match. And you could do Owens and Sami at the Chamber. All right, 2 Canucks going in there, the former Sky Dome. You're going to have a big crowd. It's going to be a big show. Like, that would be a great place for it. But hopefully Owens doesn't just kind of fall through the cracks, because he's been putting in some great work, and hopefully he'll be rewarded with a good spot heading into WrestleMania this year. And then it was time for the Royal Rumble match. And again, I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me here. Again, I apologize for the voice. Like Michael Cole, who lost his voice during this show tonight, I too am without my my usual dulcet tones. So how I'm going to do a podcast tomorrow, I have no idea, but there will be a podcast. So you don't have to worry about that. But don't forget to hit that like button while you're here. It was time for the 30-man Royal Rumble match. This is what I was looking forward to. The men's Rumble match is what had me genuinely excited coming into this show.
I am the learning tree.
That definitely does not get me excited.
Thanks, guys.
Whenever I see this guy. The learning tree. Thank you, Jeremy Rose. And thank you to the 3,500 that are with me right now. I love you all. So it was Rumble time, and number 1 in the men's Rumble, Rey Mysterio. So you knew he wasn't going to be going coast to coast. Number 2, Penta. And this was Penta's Royal Rumble debut, a big moment for him. Out there dressed in blue, even though he's a Raw guy. He was decked out in all blue. So they shook hands to start. Penta, though, held on. And he did his Cero Miedo hand gesture. And then we had a scare. They did a spot where both men went tumbling over the top rope at the same time. And it certainly looked at first like Penta's feet accidentally hit the floor. And what a fucking disaster that would have been if he didn't immediately and very quickly pull himself back up. Like if he had, let's say, just lost his grip and fell out of the ring and hit the floor. What a fucking disaster that would have been for him. But they fall out of the ring and it looked like his feet touched the floor. I didn't think that they did. I mean, one of them absolutely did. I wasn't sure about the other one. Now, they didn't show a replay of it. So that right there tells you what they thought. But on Peacock, you just go back 10 seconds and it's easy enough. So I went back and I watched this thing 3 times. And I'm telling you, I don't think his left foot touched. It's very, very close. I think it came perilously close, way too close, closer than it should have. But I don't think his left foot touched. but it was close enough that they didn't want to show the replay. And I get it. I understand why. So a lot of people are going to say and think that both feet touched. I don't think they did, but in the grand scheme, it doesn't fucking matter because he wasn't leaving this match. And so the match continued. Chad Gable was out at number 3. Carmelo Hayes was number 4. And here I thought they were going to give him the Iron Man performance this year. That's not the case. But Hayes forged a brief alliance with Chad Gable, so they worked together a little bit. Their alliance did not last very long. Hold on 1 second. I'm back. I'm dying over here. Me and Michael Cole, man. We're gonna commiserate together. It's brutal. I feel like I got needles in my throat. I feel like I swallowed like gravel. I'm like gargling gravel. Surprised I don't sound like Vince McMahon. WWE. WWE. That's what I sound like, right? WWE. Anyway. Santos Escobar was out at number 5. And we got a confrontation between Penta and King Cuerno. Because Santos Escobar used to be King Cuerno on Lucha Underground. This is now the 3rd Lucha Underground revival that we have had on television in the last 2 weeks. The other 2 came on AEW. But I'm digging it because I was a big Lucha Underground guy. So little hat tip to Lucha Underground is always good with me. Escobar hit Penta with a Mexican destroyer. And shockingly, he sold it. He didn't just pop right back up like he used to do. Otis was out. Sheldon says, you literally sound like Vince. That's a horrendous insult, by the way, because Vince sounds like absolute dog shit. I feel like he doesn't even try to enunciate his words. I'm trying at least. I'm putting the effort in. He's just like WWE, NDA. Otis was number 6, and he worked some spots with Chad Gable, who took Otis over with a deadlift German suplex. Gable is unreal. Unreal, this guy is. Speaking of unreal, that was number 7. Because out at number 7 was the Intercontinental Champion, Braun Breaker. And he immediately speared Carmelo Hayes out of his fucking boots. And that was all she wrote for Carmelo Hayes because he was launched out of the ring. Melo continues to miss. So then he speared Escobar while Escobar had Penta on his shoulders, so they both went down. Breaker then dumped Escobar out of the ring. Akira Tozawa was out at number 8. This is like Virgil coming out of the fucking Rumble in 1992. What are we doing here? Tozawa comes out on stage. Carmelo Hayes is behind him because he's on his way to the back. Hayes decides to ambush Tozawa from behind. And it was like a simple, shot to the back of the head. But they ran out there. You had Adam Pearce and some officials. They ran out there like he fucking shanked the guy. And they help Tozawa to his feet. And they help him to the back. They take him to the gorilla position. And Triple H is in the gorilla position. He's asking Tozawa, are you okay? Are you okay? And they sit him down. And Tozawa looks like, he's completely out of it. Like he's concussed. And Triple H says, well, we need a replacement. And he looks over and he goes, speed. Because I Show Speed is just so happens to be standing over in the corner. He says, I Show Speed, you're in. get to the ring. He's like, what? I'm not ready for that. So I Show Speed enters the Royal Rumble at number 8. And I'm thinking, come on, man. This is a waste of a spot here. What are we doing here, right? This is fucking lame. I Show Speed, he gets to the ring and he gets into the ring and he helps Braun Breaker eliminate Otis. And he starts celebrating like he did it all by himself, right? And Braun also, he's got like a smile on his face. And you knew what was about to happen. Like you knew death was coming this man's way. And so as I Show Speed is celebrating, Braun Breaker, and he did a standing moonsault just to show off that much more, right? He does a standing moonsault. Braun Breaker hits the ropes at like 30 miles an hour. He spears the soul out of this man. That one moment made his entry in this Royal Rumble totally worth it. Like, he speared the fuck out of him. Did not hold back. So then he gorilla pressed him overhead and dumped him outside into the waiting arms of Otis. Otis then delivered a fallaway slam to I Show Speed, who bounced off the announce desk and landed hard on the floor. So you can't say he didn't take his lumps. They didn't go easy on him here. Sheamus was number 9 and immediately caught Gable for the 10 beats on the apron before he even officially got into the ring. Gave him the 10 beats. Then Breaker comes over. He took a swing. He missed. And he ate the 10 beats. Sheamus finally entered the ring and Penta immediately clotheslined him over the top rope, but Sheamus landed on the apron. And then he hit a slingshot shoulder block into the ring. Sheamus caught Breaker with a brogue kick. It was more to the shoulder. Jimmy Uso was in at number 10. Andrade followed at number 11. And then out at number 12, the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu. And we got a Fatu and Penta face off. And he tried that Cerro Miedo shit. Fatu wasn't having any of it. And Fatu caught him with a thrust. And then he hit a double Samoan drop to Rey Mysterio and Penta at the same time. Fatu dumped Gable. He dumped Rey. And he dumped Andrade. But then Braun Breaker appeared right behind him. And I'm like, all right, here we go. Here we go. So they circle each other. But then they were interrupted. So we didn't get the whole confrontation between the two of them. Ludwig Kaiser was number 13. And once he hit ringside, he was in no great rush to get inside with Fatu and Breaker in there. Kaiser finally gets in the ring. He tries to eliminate Penta. Penta reverses it, and he dumps Kaiser out of the ring, which I'm sure is going to set up a match for Raw on Monday night. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's the only reason they even did that spot. Like, we're all but guaranteed to get that match on TV now. But Ludwig Kaiser, one of the shortest Rumble runs in the history of the match. Now, they did point out on commentary it's not the all-time record. That still belongs to Santino, who was in there for like 2 seconds. But you also got like Bushwhacker Luke. Remember in 91, Bushwhacker Luke, right? Marches down to the ring, gets inside, literally gets into the ring, right? I think Earthquake grabbed him and just threw him out the other side. And he lands on his feet and he marches to the back. So what was he in there for? 3 seconds, right? It was about 3 seconds. So I was thinking about like who else would be ahead of him, and I think, who else? Oh, the Warlord. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Warlord went out in like 3 or 4 seconds one year. So he's not in the top 3, but it was pretty embarrassing. It was not a great run there for Ludwig Kaiser. So then, with Kaiser out of the way, number 14 was The Miz. And The Miz, believe it or not, The Miz gets into this Royal Rumble. And The Miz hits a fucking leaping Hurricane Rana off the ropes, off the middle rope to Penta. But then he tried a springboard crossbody to Jacob Fatu, who caught him in midair and dropped him with a Samoan drop. So he got loud chants of Fatu. Number 15 was out next. Say his name, and he appears. The TNA World Heavyweight Champion, Joe Hendry, making his Royal Rumble debut. It was 2 seconds for the Warlord. I stand correct. I thought it was 3. I'm being told it was 2. 2 seconds for the Warlord. Okay. That's even better. But yes, Joe Hendry with the TNA World Heavyweight title. He makes his way out.
It's the amazing Gunther.
All the fans sing him to the
Jerry
ring.
Lawler loves Gunther, the magnificent.
We're singing for Gunther.
All hail Gunther.
We are singing for Gunther because David Thiering just dropped a $50 super chat. I'll sing to that. Well, I'm not going to be doing any singing for a while. Not with this voice. But David, thank you. Thank you, brother. All these people like subbing to the channel. They're like, my God, what's wrong with his voice? Why does he sound like Vince? Why does he sound like he smokes like 8 packs a day?
Gunther. Jerry Lawler loves Gunther, the magnificent.
Oh, man.
All hail Gunther.
Oh, it's a party tonight. It's a party tonight. I love it. Thank you, guys. But the fans are singing Joe Hendry on his way to the ring. He got a great reaction. He put a bunch of people down, including The Miz, before Fatu took him out. Then number 16, Roman Reigns, out with the wise men. And out earlier than I thought he would be. I didn't think he would be coming out before 20. Spear to The Miz. Miz gets dumped. Spear to Sheamus. Sheamus gets dumped. And then Joe Hendry. No one filled him in that this was a bad idea. He tries his hand at Roman Reigns. You can imagine how this went. It did not go very well. And Joe Hendry got dumped after a spear. I have to say, the way that he just got dumped out like a sack of garbage, and the way the announcers talked about this, I mean, look, I'm sure TNA is very happy to have their world champion like showcased in the Royal Rumble, right? 70,000 people. And they have this working relationship between the two companies. But if you want to see what they really think of TNA, right? You take a look at how Joe Hendry was treated. This is their world champion, right? This is the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. And he was treated like such a fucking jabron. I was just like, wow. Like, they treated him like a complete bitch. I was like, I can't say I'm surprised, but it was like, wow. But that's the trade-off, you know? You want to work with WWE, you want to get your name in the lights, you want to get your event promoted or whatever it is. That's the trade-off, right? If it was anybody else from TNA, it might not have been a big deal, but it's their world champion, you know? But then Braun Breaker, he cuts Roman Reigns in half with a wicked spear. This fucking spear was even better than the one that I Show Speed took. So when Breaker tried to dump him out, Roman reversed and he dumped Braun Breaker out instead. Jimmy then tried to extend a helping hand to Roman to help him back to his feet, but Fatu would have none of it, and he dumped Jimmy out of the ring. Then we had Roman Reigns on one side, and we had Jacob Fatu on the other. Yeah, you know, Avery, that's right. We didn't even get an interaction between John Cena and Joe Hendry. That's right. He was long gone. Oh, man. And this guy wants to go on Busted Open Radio and throw challenges out to John Cena after he got treated like a bitch. So we got Roman and we got Fatu. And Michael Cole said it best. This right here is a future WrestleMania main event one day. Absolutely, I could see this being a WrestleMania main event for a championship or not. And the fans were amped up for it. Penta's in the ring still. Penta's down in the corner. He's just like, he's watching this, right? He's spectating. He's taken a load off there for a while. He's been in the ring for some time now. See, he's just watching all this. Ultimately, Roman took Fatu out with a spear, and he was the only man standing when Drew McIntyre's music hit. Here comes McIntyre, and of course, he's got eyes on Roman Reigns. He's making a beeline for Roman. McIntyre and Fatu, they actually worked together to double team Roman. McIntyre went to work on Roman while Fatu caught Penta with a running hip attack. Finn Balor was out next at number 18 to that shitty new music. My God. You know, again, they gave the Judgment Day new music, right? And it just doesn't fit them at all. But Balor hasn't really come out to that music by himself. He hasn't been associated with this new music long enough for people to even know that it's his music. So I had no idea who was coming out. Like, legitimately, until they showed his face. And I said, oh, it's Finn Balor. Like, just the music situation is just fucking horrible. Number 19 was Shinsuke Nakamura. And there was a cool spot where Penta used Balor's back as a step up into a destroyer on Fatu. But then Balor grabbed Penta and he dumped him out of the ring for the elimination. So Penta went 42 minutes in this Royal Rumble match. They gave him the Iron Man performance. So outside of what some may call a little botch, and again, I question whether that left foot touched, but even if it did, outside of that, this was a great night for Penta. He got a great reaction coming out. The fans, they're chanting his catchphrase. He got to work with Ray. He got to mix it up with some of the big names, and he went over 40 minutes. I'm not sure. I don't know that anybody else in the men's Rumble lasted longer than him. I think they gave him the Iron Man performance. So if you're Penta, you got to be fucking elated about that. Jey Uso was out at number 20. Spear to McIntyre. Poison Rana to Jacob Fatu. When was the last time we saw Jey Uso do a fucking Poison Rana? Uso eliminates Nakamura. And then we get number 21. And number 21 was the phenomenal AJ Styles. And you know what the best part of this was? He's got his old music back. Speaking of shitty music, they had changed his some time ago. But he got his old music back. Thank God. So it was good to see AJ back. Yeah, he had that fluke injury many months ago with the foot. And there really hasn't been much in the way of updates on him. So assuming he'll be on SmackDown, that's a big pickup for the SmackDown roster. But we'll see. They did say the transfer window ends as of this weekend. So it's possible they could say, well, there were some final moves made, at the Rumble. And maybe AJ goes to Raw. Because I was thinking, before I saw what they were doing with Jey Uso, I was looking at this and going, man, if they need an opponent for Gunther at WrestleMania, you move AJ to Raw. You do AJ Styles and Gunther, right? Which obviously is not going to happen now, but I would like to see him at some point. I know they're telling the story with John Cena right now, but at some point, when AJ is winding it down, he should have one more run, right? Go after the championship, maybe, win it and, get that one last world title run. That's something I'd like to see. So he works some spots with Fatu. And then at number 22, Braun Strowman, the same Braun Strowman who just got murdered on NBC last weekend on Saturday night's main event. He was a bloody mess, internal bleeding, right? Coughing up blood like me after tonight, coughing up blood, right? This guy's like, oh man, he's going to be out for a while, right? A week later, he's back here in the Royal Rumble. And right off, he and Fatu went at it. Strowman eliminates Jacob Fatu. And Jacob Fatu goes absolutely just batshit crazy. And he clears off the announce desk. He grabs one of the cushy announce chairs and he throws it at the ring. And then finally he calms down and he goes to leave. Number 23, John Cena. Biggest reaction on the entire show. Out comes Cena. He has his new merch that says the last time is now. Cena dumps Braun Strowman. Then he dumps Finn Balor with an attitude adjustment. It was supposed to be an attitude adjustment onto Braun Strowman. Strowman didn't really catch him. He did kind of cushion the fall, but Strowman looked very upset. And I don't know that he was just selling anger about being eliminated so much as he was upset that he didn't catch Balor the way he was supposed to. Roman speared McIntyre. And then we got a brief stare down with Roman Reigns and John Cena before number 24 made his way out. And that was CM Punk. Punk got on the apron. He stared at Cena. He stared at Reigns. Nothing happened. All they did was stare at each other. Like, right? A lot of staring going on here, right? Really milking the moment. And they stared so long into each other's eyes that we already got the countdown clock for the next person. And that turned out to be number 25, and that was Seth Rollins. So I'm thinking like Punk just can't quit this guy. Rollins immediately gets in the ring and tackles Punk. Roman goes after Cena. So let's take stock of where we are now. We have, at this point, Roman Reigns, John Cena, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, AJ Styles, and Jey Uso. Okay, that's who we have active in the ring. Number 26. This was my last shot. In our Facebook pool, the Royal Rumble pool, I got number 26. I screwed the pooch in the Women's Rumble with Raquel. This was my last shot. Number 26, Dominic Mysterio. There's always next year. Frog Splash to John Cena. Dom then tries the Three Amigos to Roman Reigns. It don't work out too well for him. And Roman drops him with a Samoan drop. Number 27 was Sami Zayn. He gets in the ring. Haluva kick to Drew McIntyre. Haluva kick to Seth Rollins, who was in the opposite corner. Number 28 was Damian Priest. Dom tried a 619 on Priest. And as he hit the ropes, Priest caught him by the throat, hit the South of Heaven chokeslam, and that was the end of Dominic Mysterio. We had 2 spots left. Number 29, LA Knight. And he hit the leaping elbow drop onto John Cena. Even as AJ charged towards him in the corner, he jumped up, hit the elbow on Cena, and then AJ and Knight mixed it up. Obviously, no love lost between those two guys. Then we got Yeet against Yeah, and the two of them went back and forth. Sami Zayn looked down at Roman Reigns on the mat, and he extended his hand to help him back up. McIntyre tried to dump Sami. Jey Uso threw a super kick that accidentally hit Sami Zayn and knocked him off the apron and eliminated him. So, not intentional, but Jey Uso eliminates Sami Zayn. And finally, number 30, just by process of elimination, you could figure out who it was. The newest addition to the Monday Night Raw roster in Logan Paul. He knows how to get heat, I'll say that. And these people did not like him. And they booed, and they booed. He gets into the ring with a buckshot lariat immediately, right off the bat, that takes out both Seth and AJ. Damian Priest eliminated Drew McIntyre. Very anticlimactic. See, I mentioned they did that spot in the women's match where like a bunch of women got dumped out at the same time, including some big names. And I'm like, it's fucking stupid. I don't like what they did there. I was not a fan of how anticlimactic the Drew McIntyre elimination was. Like, to me, he's too important a figure. And he's got a lot of different, like, stories going on with different people. It was very strange that of all the people, it's like Damian Priest just dumps him out of the ring. And they're not on the same brand. Like if they were on the same brand, I can understand it. So unless McIntyre is moving very late in this transfer window, we find out this week he's on Raw, and Priest is on SmackDown. So I don't know what that means. It might mean nothing. But McIntyre holds grudges, so you would think something like that would ultimately lead somewhere. But just like that, Drew McIntyre was gone. Hold on one second, guys. So, with McIntyre out of the way, we had LA Knight trying to knock Logan Paul off the apron. And instead, Logan, he jumps from the apron to the top of the announce desk. So now he's like on an island all unto himself, right? Nobody can touch him. Knight eliminates Damian Priest. AJ Styles then dumps out LA Knight. AJ was setting up on the apron for a phenomenal forearm. I don't remember to who. He goes to jump up for the forearm. Logan Paul, at this point, has jumped over from the announce desk to the ring steps, and he yanks on AJ's leg in mid-move and yanks him to the floor. So AJ Styles is eliminated. And it came down to John Cena, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Jey Uso, and Logan Paul. Punk dropped Logan with a GTS. Rollins dropped Uso with a pedigree. We got a Superman punch to John Cena and a stomp to Cena by Seth Rollins. And then a stomp to CM Punk. So now we have Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, right? No love lost here. And we know how Seth Rollins feels about Roman Reigns. So now they come face to face. And a slugfest ensues. 2 super kicks by Rollins. He's got Reigns in the ropes. Rollins comes in. Reigns ducks. He tries to clothesline Seth out of the ring, but Seth holds on, right? And so they're still in the ropes. And CM Punk sneaks up behind both of them. And in one fell swoop, he dumps Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins out to the floor. And both men have been eliminated. And you know that is just irritating as all hell for Seth Rollins, because yet again, CM Punk fucks him. So now Roman and Seth are outside the ring. Punk doesn't get to enjoy his little elimination, though, because Logan Paul comes up from behind CM Punk. And of all the people to eliminate CM Punk in this match, CM Punk is eliminated by Logan fucking Paul. So now Punk is on the ground outside. He's looking at Roman. Roman's looking at him, and they start arguing. As they're arguing with each other, Seth Rollins comes charging in, and he stomps Roman Reigns on the floor. But he doesn't just stomp Roman Reigns, right? He double stomps him. So as Seth Rollins' stomps are concerned, this one looked pretty good. So he gives Roman a double stomp on the floor. Now we have Punk and Rollins, right? They're brawling on the outside. Officials get between them. Rollins goes over to Paul Heyman. He flips him off. And he gives Roman Reigns a second stomp, this time on the flat part of the ring steps. So that's 2 stomps now. Punk starts brawling with Rollins again. Again, they get separated. Rollins is walking to the back now. All right. This basically, it felt like this was the beginning of a heel turn for Seth Rollins. Because now, he's targeting people that the fans like. Roman Reigns is an asshole. And frankly, so is CM Punk. But the fans don't care because they like them. They like Roman and they like Punk. And if you force them to choose, they're not going to pick Seth Rollins. So I said this from the beginning of this whole Punk and Rollins thing. Like, you could drag it out to WrestleMania if you want to, but when you get to that point, there's going to be a babyface and there's going to be a heel. And the heel is not going to be CM Punk. if anybody is going to be a heel, it's going to be Seth Rollins. And I think that's what you saw tonight was him just snapping. He's had enough. And who knows? We saw a similar look on Drew McIntyre's face when he got dumped out by Damian Priest. Maybe there is something to this idea of sort of a loose alliance, maybe that ends up being formed with Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre, which I think could be very interesting. But Punk kind of walked back over to where Roman was laying on the ground, and Paul Heyman is on his knees and he's like crying. He's so concerned for Roman, and Punk said something to Paul, and then Punk left. So just like that, we're down to 3. John Cena, Jey Uso, and Logan Paul. They did a spot where Cena got both of them up on his shoulders for a double attitude adjustment. Jey slipped out. Cena clotheslined Logan Paul out of the ring. And it came down to the two baby faces. It came down to John Cena in his quest for number 17 and Jey Uso in his quest to prove that he can be a world heavyweight champion, which unlike Cena 16 times over, Jey Uso has never been a world heavyweight champion. And he is arguably the hottest, babyface or top 3 hottest babyfaces in the entire company. This is not a final 2 that I was expecting. And I like that. Right? I like when they can kind of throw you a curveball here. And they managed to do that with the final 2 in this match. Cena got his, and they milked the crowd reaction for like a long time before they even touched. Cena did his trademark shoulder tackles, hit a 5-knuckle shuffle, went for an attitude adjustment. Jey slips out. Jey hits a super kick, his favorite move. Jey tries to eliminate Cena. Another super kick. He tries to dump Cena, but he kicks him away. Jey hits a spear, and now both men are down. Cena dumps Jey over, but Jey lands on the apron. Cena ends up going over the top. Now he's on the apron, okay? So they are both on the verge of elimination here, and they're both on the apron. Cena catches a super kick. I say catches with his jaw. It gets super kicked by Jey Uso, and they're slugging it out, and Cena is barely hanging on, right? He's teasing that, he might let go of the rope, and he's like barely hanging on. Cena, though, scoops him up for an AA attempt, and Jey slips off his shoulders back into the ring, and he gives Cena a shove. And John Cena falls to the floor. And just like that, one of the biggest upsets in Royal Rumble history, Jey fucking Uso, who does have an Andre Battle Royal win to his name, but now he is a Royal Rumble winner. And he has punched his ticket to what I'm sure will be the night 1 main event of WrestleMania 41. Where he is 99.9% sure going to challenge Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. I call it one of the biggest upsets in Royal Rumble history, but I go back to what I said earlier. It really shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be, because if you've been paying attention, I've said the last couple of weeks, don't sleep on the possibility of Jey Uso as like the dark horse here in this match. All of the conversations were surrounding all of the other big names that are bigger than Jey, right? Jey Uso's not as big of a name as John Cena or Roman Reigns, right? Or CM Punk for that matter. But he's a big name for them, and he's very popular, and he has his own story brewing with Gunther, where he has to be the comeback kid. Everybody says I'm not good enough to be the world heavyweight champion. I believe that I can be. I believe that I can beat this man. I will beat this man. And that now will be the story that takes us into WrestleMania. You don't have to like Jey Uso. You don't have to like the way he wrestles his matches. One of the best matches that he has had singles-wise in his career just so happened to come with Gunther on Saturday night's main event. They had a very good match. I believe that at WrestleMania, that will end up being Jey Uso's best match of his career. Because I just find it hard to believe on that stage. Going in there with somebody like Gunther, he'll have anything but the best match he's ever had. And he will win the World Heavyweight Championship.
The amazing Gunther.
Not a doubt in my mind.
Jerry Lawler loves Gunther the Magnificent. All hail Gunther.
Hey, M. Mills, thank you for the $50 bomb. Appreciate that. But see, Merlot, why do you say that? Why do you think there's no chance in hell he challenges for the world title? Is that not the story that they have been telling us these last few weeks? Like, why would you think it would be anything different? You think it's going to be Jey and Cody? Think Jay's going to lose his shot between now and WrestleMania? The Rock is going to show up and say, I'm the, what is it? It's Tribal Chief and then High Chief, right? Rock is a High Chief. So I wonder, like, as the High Chief, if Rock went to Jey Uso and said,
I am the learning tree.
I command you to give me your title shot.
Thanks, guys.
By like Samoan law, would Jey have to surrender his title match? Boy, that would be pretty shitty. Anyway. Boy, you people are enjoying some wings tonight. I like it. But yeah, I'm seeing a lot of unnecessary hate for Jey Uso. I don't really understand why people, again, maybe you don't have to like it, but why this doesn't seem to make sense. It makes all the sense in the world. As popular as he is, I don't know why people would be surprised that they would give him the opportunity to become a world champion. Whether or not you see him as world championship material, that's a separate conversation. But I like the fact they went a little outside the box with the finish for this Royal Rumble. I think the way that it was, like, you look at some of the people who were in there at the end. I personally, I would have changed the order up maybe a little bit. Like McIntyre going out when he did and the way he did, I thought was very underwhelming. But I had never even given a second thought to the possibility of Cena and Uso being in there as the final two. And, again, you saw they both got great reactions from the crowd, but the fans were very happy and very pleased when Jey went over in the end. So I can appreciate what they did here, and I see where they're going with this, and that's going to be Jey Uso's story. And for all the talk about, well, who will Gunther defend the title against, right? People were talking about Logan Paul, which honestly probably would have been a better wrestling match. I'd much rather see, Gunther and Jey play their story out than just do Gunther and Logan Paul, right? There just doesn't seem to be another obvious choice right now if you assume that Punk and Rollins are going to be otherwise occupied. What do you do with Gunther? You want to put him in the ring with one of your popular top baby faces. Otherwise, you're just marginalizing your world heavyweight champion if you don't have something better for him. What's he going to do? Wrestle Sheamus? No. Braun Breaker? No. Damian Priest is on SmackDown now. Drew McIntyre, they're not doing heel against heel. This was the best option of the options that they had in front of them. As far as surprises in this Rumble, I Show Speed, Joe Hendry, and AJ Styles. Those were the surprises. I would say lacking quite a bit. As compared to the surprises they gave us in the women's match. The women's match beats them out in terms of that. But the women's match cannot hold a candle overall to the men's match this year. We had great storytelling. We had some directions for WrestleMania that were set up and became a little bit clearer, and a lot of unpredictability made for what I thought overall was an excellent Royal Rumble match. We still don't know about the favor that Paul Heyman owes CM Punk. That did not come into play tonight. So we'll have to wait a little bit longer to find out about that. But as I look ahead to WrestleMania, and we can tell Gunther and Jey Uso, right? That's one direction. Roman and Seth. And I know some people might have been talking about this, but a lot of people really weren't considering that as a possibility. You know, people thought Rock and Roman, or Roman and Fatu, or Roman and Punk. Roman and Seth, there's a lot of history there between those two. And if they do Roman and Seth, where does that leave CM Punk? Unless Punk is somehow going, Punk would have to win the Chamber if he was going to challenge Cody, because they're on separate brands. And I don't know what the Chamber match is going to be. It might not even be for a title shot. It could be for something completely different. A few years ago, they had a U.S. title Chamber match, right? So we don't know. What do you do with Punk? Right? If you're going to do Roman and Seth, would it not make sense for Punk to be part of that? So are we going to get a triple threat? Right? That seems to be a possibility. Cena. Is Cena going to win the Elimination Chamber in Toronto? Is Cena going to go on to challenge Cody Rhodes? If not, what does John Cena do? Right? I thought Logan Paul would eliminate John Cena. John Cena eliminated Logan Paul. Logan Paul is not going to let that lay, right? He's not going to leave that alone. So Cena and Logan Paul is going to happen, but do they do it at the Chamber? Do they do it at WrestleMania? Can't discount the possibility that John Cena could be wrestling Logan Paul at WrestleMania. And then where does Drew McIntyre fit into things? I really hope he doesn't get left out in the cold. McIntyre has been one of the MVPs. And it would be a shame if they don't have something reasonably big set up for him for WrestleMania. But one thing that seems very clear is that The Rock is not going to be wrestling at WrestleMania this year. Can't say that with 100% certainty after what happened last year, but it seems pretty clear that if he was going to be at Mania, they would have already started some kind of a direction, and by tonight, he would have been present in some way, even if just for a quick cameo, and he wasn't. And so it looks like they're going to have to rely on their own star power. And guess what? The good news for them is they got plenty of it. You just got to figure out where all the different pieces go. But on the whole, I thought this was a very good show. What did you think of the Royal Rumble 2025? 80% thumbs up for tonight's show, 19.7% thumbs down. And that is with over 3,000 votes in. Yeah, JP, Punk still has the Chamber. We just need to find out what's on the line in the Chamber. Right? Everybody's going to assume it's going to be for a shot at Cody's title, but that's not necessarily the case. We don't know that for sure.
I'm just the sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I make them hot. I make them shiver. Their knees get weak whenever I'm around. They see me walk. They hear me talk. I make them feel like they're on cloud nine.
Was that David Thiering with the $80 super chat? Yes, it was. Thank you, David. David has been a beast all night long here, so thank you to him, and thank you to everybody who has been supporting. It's been a rough few days, as you could hear, and so it's nice. It's nice to see that kind of support. I appreciate it. All right, let's get into your earlier super chats. These are the ones that you probably will not see on screen. And we'll go through your messages. What did you think?
Ghoul.
And
He's a Ghoulber.
Ghoulber.
That match at WrestleMania.
I love it.
Fucking Goldberg.
I love it. Thankfully, we did not get a Goldberg cameo. Apparently, Goldberg is off getting stem cell treatment, so he's trying to get his body fixed up so that he could have this retirement match. So I was pretty confident we weren't going to get him in the Rumble tonight. Albert says, I sound like the Green Goblin. Do I sound like Willem Dafoe? Yeah, you guys are mean, you know that? You guys are very mean. Let's see here. We'll start with Base Beerus, who just says, Bliss fan. He was so excited for Bliss fan during the Women's Rumble. I think we all were. Frode says, this one's for you, Bliss fan. Since you're not here to collect, it goes to Solo. Thank you. Thank you, Frode. Base Beerus, is this the longest Rumble in history? I would think it would have to be. This was a long fucking show. I can't remember there being a longer Rumble before. I mean, this was over 4 hours long. It's ridiculous. Josh Carlos. OTRS Central said it best. If Charlotte didn't have that last name, she would be in the mid-card or lower. No, I don't think... I definitely think the name helps as far as how hard she's pushed, but she would be higher than that. Base Spears says, quoting Michael Cole now, they all went nuts for Nikki Bella. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So they they had a special area, and they had like a camera there. I don't know. These were like VIP guests or something. And they said, these people are going nuts when like Nikki Bella came out. And they showed when Nikki made her entrance. And these people are just sitting there. Like, I'm like, where are the people? Where are these people supposedly going nuts? I'm like, you couldn't pay some people to like plant them to like be like, yay, Nikki Bella. And he says, holy shit, best Alabama slam in history. Yeah, it was pretty brutal stuff. That's for sure. Holiday 197. Hey, Solo, that was a great ladder match. It's up there among the best. Kevin needs another major title run. Maybe he could win Money in the Bank this year. Well, if John Cena is not winning the championship at WrestleMania, I think John Cena may win Money in the Bank. Party on Sparty. If CM Punk wins and Rock enters at 31, well, neither of those things happen. JDF VA. The Solomon was right. I told you. Don't sleep on Jey Uso. Mexi Wolf. After tonight, I better not hear Rikishi complaining about his son not getting opportunities. Yes. What will Rikishi complain about now coming out of the show? I think he's going to have an issue with Jey not getting enough eliminations. That's what I think. Venom Kitetsu. Hope you're feeling better, dude. I wish I could say I am, but thank you, brother. I'm really not. It's tough. It's tough because we have the podcast tomorrow, Raw Monday night, TNT on Tuesday, Dynamite on Wednesday. I'm just worried that I'm not giving my throat a chance to recover. But, you know, the work never ends. Prince Vegeta, liked the show, but I didn't like Cole on commentary for most of it. At times it sounded like Excalibur was out there. He was sounding really corny too, like when Punk, Roman, and Cena were in the ring. Yeah, he was a little over the top. He was being a little goofy at times. Mr. AJ All Day. Great Royal Rumble pay-per-view. The men's Rumble has the edge. I don't use the word buried much, but if somebody is buried beside Vinci, it would be Carmelo Hayes. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, brother. Ozzy Nandos. Again, these are all the early ones. That's why you don't see them on the screen yet. We'll catch up. Ozzy Nandos. Drink every time a female wrestler did the kip up. Yes, I didn't point that out. There were so many kip ups in the Women's Rumble. Like, they're all showing off, but like after the 17th one, it's like, this is not impressive anymore. Josh Carlos. Ziggler and Big E still entrant number 31s in Royal Rumble history. We did have that one 40-man Rumble, the one that Del Rio won. Saint-like Media. I feel like this year had the least surprising surprises. Also, how much money would it take for you to do the same spot that iShow Speed did? It would take a lot of money. To take a spear from Braun Breaker? Yeah. They'd even have to put me up at a nice hotel. Vac Fuzz. Solo, what's better, a face heel or a heel face? A heel face. That's what I have. I have a heel face. Steve Joseph, no Big E in the Royal Rumble. No New Day in the Royal Rumble. There was no Kofi, there was no Big E. And there was no Xavier Woods. There was no New Day at all. Austin Blandset. Solomonster, I love you, man. I know recency bias is a real thing, but tonight has to be the best or one of the best of all time. Feel great for Jay. It was a great Rumble. There have been some horrendous Rumbles. Like, really bad Rumbles, okay? This was leagues above those. David Thiering. At last, after all of the furniture throwing and complaining that Rikishi did about Jey Uso's booking, we get Jey winning the Royal Rumble. Solo, you did say, don't sleep on Jey. Credit to you, sir. Rikishi is popping the bubbly tonight. He should be very happy. Bill Mitchell. Did anyone else find it at least odd that Michael Cole name-dropped Nick Nemeth instead of former superstar Dolph Ziggler? Royal Rumble, 9 out of 10. No, if he was going to be in the Rumble, I would have expected him to be Nick Nemeth. Like, that's the name he goes by now. And as a sign of respect for the other company, that's how he should be referred. So, that's not that surprising. Base Beer says, no yeet. Party on Sparty. Hot tag wrestler gets main event of WrestleMania. Hey, Raph. Thank you for your 7 months of channel membership, brother. He says, my first time watching a Royal Rumble live. Now I finally see what all the hype is about. So much fun. Thank you for all your hard work. Get well soon. Raph, thank you. I appreciate that. That's your first Rumble. Really? Well. We got Wesco. Solomonster, I don't understand why Jey Uso is so over. Such an overrated wrestler. Overrated entrance. What a waste having him win the Royal Rumble. I mean, I can't imagine why WWE would take one of their most over talents and have them win the Royal Rumble. It's shocking to me. I don't understand it either. It's a mystery. People like what they like. And, you know, for all the years that many of us complained about Vince McMahon being stubborn and going with the people that he wanted to push, whether or not the fans wanted to get behind them, right? It didn't matter what we wanted. He had an image in his head of like who he wanted his top stars to be. And he's going to make you like these people, right? And how many people did they miss the boat on who were over and could have been so much bigger than they were, but they never capitalized on it, right? Are we really going to complain now when the company strikes gold with somebody who is as popular as he is and just, ignore that? To do what? Just push the people they want instead of listening to the audience, which is what they should be doing? Right? You can't have it both ways. You know, if I mocked up a dream scenario for what the World Heavyweight Championship match would be, he wouldn't be in my World Heavyweight Championship match. But I totally understand why they would want him to be, you know, and I'm okay with it. Because that's the way it should be. The fans should dictate who gets these spots, who's over and who's not at a certain level. It's the fans ultimately that should dictate that. People have spoken. Josh Herman. I'm assuming since she has a new shirt that is in the ring, they worked out her contract. I hope so. Get Alexa on TV now. Yeah, I mean, look, it's possible the whole thing was just a work from the start. There were some reputable outlets that reported that it was a very real contract dispute. I think PW Insider is still reporting that. And they said that they were able to work out their differences. So I tend to believe that there may have been some back and forth and they worked it out, right? People have business disagreements and they work it out. Again, look at the Corey Graves thing. He missed 1 week of TV and then he was back. So they had already worked on merch for her return. That's not shocking. She was supposed to be back on the San Jose Raw the night that Penta debuted. She was going to return on that show. So they would have already had merch ready to go for her. All they had to do was hold off a few weeks. So Skull Dipper. Thank you for the 5 gifted membership, Skull Dipper. Creflo. Love the men's and women's Rumble. Shocked and hyped at Jay winning. Alexa is that bliss. Only negative was the number of kip-ups in the women's Rumble. Chris O'Neill, solid show. Women's Rumble was so-so. Yeah, the men's Rumble was definitely the stronger of the two. Party on Sparty, 18. They gave a hot tag wrestler the main event of WrestleMania. Jay can barely carry a Raw main event, let alone a WrestleMania main event. Well, he certainly had a pretty bad WrestleMania match last year. And so this is now an opportunity for him to go out there and prove that he can have a better match. And you know what? He's going to be in the ring with somebody who can give him that match. Now, of course, after he wins the world title, assuming he does, he'll have to carry the load on his own. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what the lay of the land is going to be on Monday nights if Jey Uso becomes the world champion in terms of heels to match him up with. But you can't ask for a better dance partner than someone like Gunther if you want to go in there and have the best possible match of your fucking life. So if he can't go in there and have a great match with Gunther, then there's no hope. There's just no hope. Kyle, thank you for the 20. Absolutely to each their own. I don't want to perpetuate negatives or act like I know more than others or that my opinion matters, but there really wasn't a lot of wrestling. Cody against Owens was awesome. Other than that, nothing. Not a lot of wrestling. Dude, these Rumbles, this had to be, as far as like both Rumbles combined since they've started doing 2 of them, the longest Rumbles they've ever done. Like in a single year. I don't think we've ever had a year where the men's Rumble and the women's Rumble went as long as these 2 did. So I mean, there was a lot of ring time as far as the Rumbles go, that's for sure. Stadium J says yeet. Yo Solo, you called it. Jay is going to WrestleMania. Well, I just said it's a very real possibility. I didn't pick him to win, but I said don't count him out of the conversation. OM Too Cool. You sound worse, Brother Solo. Get well soon. I'm trying, brother. I'm trying. It ain't working. Powerful one. Yeet a Mania. Next t-shirt. It'll make millions. Joseph Stewart. Who will Dominic Mysterio face at WrestleMania? Rhea Ripley. No, I don't know. I don't know. It would seem kind of forced to just go back to him and Ray because they've been apart now for a while. So I was thinking maybe Balor because they've been building some tension between them for a while. Maybe Dominic and Balor at WrestleMania. Ray Wrighton. Charlotte in the bank wins again and again. Cry me a river to all of her haters. I'm also happy for Jay as well. Yes, Ray is a huge Charlotte Flair fan. So I'm happy for Ray, and I'm happy for Bliss fan. It's a big night for them. Mr. Rod, honestly wasn't expecting that, but congrats to Jey Uso. There you go. Holiday 197. It looks like we're getting Punk against Roman against Rollins at WrestleMania, which intrigues me. What are your thoughts on a Roman versus Seth match inside Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania someday? They have the storied history. I don't think it has to be at WrestleMania. But yeah, the triple threat is intriguing because of how their stories all sort of intertwine. Arcade the Hedgehog. Hey, Solo, let us see your monster form on screen. I don't know what that means. I think I sound like a monster right now. I feel like I would scare little children if they were listening. Oh God, I'm in so much pain right now. I'm in so much pain. The Sheriff of Patties. Your J senses tingled last week. Looks like they had an inclination. Thanks for making these reviews fun, original, and top quality. Thank you, brother. I'm glad you enjoy them. Grant Hudson, you fucking called it. Probably Hunter's most out-of-the-box booking decisions. Hope you get well soon, Solo. Thank you, Grant. Truly Spencer, PDX. I spent $1,500 to see Jey Uso against Gunther at WrestleMania. Hashtag regret. Well, who told you to spend $1,500 on fucking WrestleMania? Like, why would you do that? I hope that's like all in, like hotel, food. That better not just be tickets. I can't think of a single show that I would ever want to go see that badly that I would drop over $1,000 on a ticket. I just can't imagine it, you know, but that's me. Eric the Shawn, 24 months of channel membership, says Jey Uso is definitely the Jeff Hardy of this generation. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Jeff had a broader appeal. If Jeff would have been clean and sober and he would have had his head working right, he would have been even bigger. But I see the analogy. Easy renewing their membership. Hey, Solomonster, I love the Seth Rollins angle. I get Jay winning, even though he's a mid wrestler, but Charlotte winning the Rumble is a Vince McMahon move. Shaking my head. You don't think Triple H is not a Charlotte Flair fan? Come on. Of all people, you know he's a big Flair fan. Can't be surprised by that. OM Too Cool. Rikishi must be stink-facing anybody he can find in pure happiness. I believe that's called sexual assault, by the way. That and the Too Cool dance on loop. Charlotte winning was just, yeah. The emoji says it all. Nell D. Are we excited for Jay against Gunther for the 4th time? Excited? I wouldn't say excited. But WrestleMania is still 3 months away. So let's see how the story plays itself out. Now that we can see what the direction is, we have to see how the story plays out. But right now, am I excited? No. I don't hate it, but there's certain matches that like I would be excited for. I wouldn't say excited. Whoop it scoopity. Hey Solo, am I crazy for thinking that it'll be Orton against Rhodes at Mania and there will be a Punk Rollins Reigns triple threat? No, you're not crazy at all. Ragnarok. First time Rumble and lots of fun. I was the sole person booing Charlotte in my section. The men's Rumble loses points for no Obafemi. Well, maybe they just didn't want to eliminate him. Jazz Jackrabbit. Watched the Rumble with friends and it was a rather loud night. As soon as Cena's music hit, everybody shut up. He took it all in and watched closely. Watched his entire career and we'll miss him for sure. Well, I mean, that's why, they're going to sell a gazillion tickets because everywhere they go where he's going to be, it's like, this is the last time that you get to see him, So they're going to sell so many tickets. It's just crazy. Smart business. Ayo, Winston. I like the subtle nod to John Cena being the GOAT, coming in at Jordan's 23. I didn't even notice that. I did not even notice that. It says, I don't believe he's the actual GOAT, but it was cool. Congrats to Jay. Yeah, I don't think so either. But that's how WWE is going to portray him. Edwin Garcia. I would have liked LA Knight to win. Yeah, well, I'd like a pony. That's not going to happen either. Avatar. When Nikki came out at 30 and Charlotte was the only possible winner in the ring. Yeah. Which do you choose? Which do you dislike the least? Make your choice. Would you go Charlotte Flair or would you go Nikki Bella? You would go Charlotte Flair. Natasha Rigby, thank you for the 5th. I know people have mixed emotions, but I'm definitely down with something new like Jey Uso. Also, shout out to my amazing wrestling-loving son, Roman, who turns 6 tomorrow. Yes, his namesake did not win, but at least his favorite is still the champion. Well, tell Roman I said happy birthday. Tell him the Solomonster said, have a very happy birthday. That's very cool. Thank you for the support. Jeremy Rose, WrestleMania, Seth against Roman or Seth Roman Punk triple threat. I feel like in that situation, you almost have to do a triple threat because what the hell do you do with Punk? Nothing else makes sense unless you're going to put Punk with Cody. And at this point, I don't think that's going to happen. So I kind of feel like you almost don't really have any other place to put him. That makes sense. You're going to put him with McIntyre again? Right? They didn't set anything up in this match other than something with Roman and or Seth. The house has spoken. Did they really rip my man Omos away from Noah and not put him in the Rumble? Yes. So Omos had to surrender his GHC tag team title because he had to come back to the States. And there were reports that he was spotted in Indianapolis this weekend. And yeah, he wasn't there. Or if he was there, he was in the back. But no Omos in the Rumble. OM too cool. Bliss returning is yet another egg on Uncle Dave's face. At this point, we need Jigsaw to claim him as his next victim, since he is not retiring. Rob, as an OG Cena hater, I am glad Cena lost. Yeet. Hey, I admire your consistency. I smoke a lot of weed. Boy, I could use some of that right now. Wade Barrett has a better voice than Corey Graves. He does have a very good voice. He has a good announcer voice. Party on Sparty. Thank you for your channel membership. Donnie Yasu, I always love when a dark horse wins the Rumble. That's why a lot of people were rooting for Jordynne Grace in the women's one. Jeremy Rose. Have you noticed Cole makes a lot of mistakes now that Vince is not in his ear? So we couldn't give another wrestler the Royal Rumble spot instead of I Show Speed. At least Braun killed his ass. Yeah, well, that made the whole thing worth it. What else were they going to give you that would have been cooler than that? Could have put fucking Carlito in there. Creflo. I wish Booker was there to call the Women's Rumble because he would have been wild. Jada Parker equals just wow. She has quality and was impressed with Roxanne. Not a fan of pure loser collective. I don't think that anybody is. David Thiering. Says your voice sounds rough. I'm not going to lie. Hopefully you are at least improving in retrospect to how you felt on Wednesday. Thank you, David. Always here to cheer me up. I appreciate it. Havili. Havili is with it. Havili Brain. $6 super chat. What is the possibility of a mixed team match at WrestleMania? Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch and CM Punk and AJ Lee. Between Kane or the British Bulldog, who should have won the Royal Rumble? Thanks. If I had to choose, Kane. And the possibility is 0. That is not going to happen. Party on Sparty. New member, longtime listener, much love. To be honest, I hated Jay winning, but I am a CM Punk fan, so that might have a little to do with it. Can he be the next Cena? Sure. He's a mid-in-ring performer with a large and loud fan base. Or he could be the Warrior. Now, Jey Uso is not an asshole and a terrible human being. But Party on Sparty, man, with the $50 bomb, man. Thank you, brother. Party on Sparty, man. He's been all over the stream tonight. HBK C83. In your opinion, is Bobby the Brain Heenan the best all-around talent in the history of wrestling? Yes. Yeah, I could answer that before I even finish the super chat. It says, all things considered, with him being a manager, color commentator, and dude, he did everything, like literally everything, except maybe referee. Maybe he didn't referee. But people remember him as a manager primarily. And he was a fantastic manager, like even in the AWA. So it's not even just with one promotion, it's across multiple promotions, but manager and commentator and even behind the scenes. Like, he was one of the people responsible for like those backstage promos back in the 80s and the early 90s. Like, he'd be the guy off camera who was sort of, guiding people. He did that for them as well. But he wrestled. He was a wrestler. And he could take bumps like nobody's business. He did everything. And he did it great. I've never known a better all-around You talk about 5-tool players in the history of wrestling. Bobby Heenan's got to be number one. I'm not saying that as a wrestler, he was better than the greatest wrestlers, but even the wrestling part, like, he wasn't a bad wrestler. And again, a great bump taker, and he did it all. He did it all, and he did it great. Bobby's World, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, man. Alex, I hope you're feeling better today than you did yesterday. I'm a bit conflicted about tonight's show. Cody got injured, and we got the 2 wrong stars winning the Rumble. We'll find out. What do you mean Cody got injured? What are you talking about? Hold on. What are you talking about here? Well, I mean, this is interesting, actually. So I didn't notice this before, but there is a news item. By the way, for those who don't know, John Cena has confirmed that he will be in the Elimination Chamber. So, I mean, it's hard to imagine with him being in there that he doesn't win. But apparently, yeah, I don't think, I think Cody's fine. There is an item though, from Mike Johnson, and this is exclusive to PW Insider, that something went wrong with Drew McIntyre's elimination from the Rumble. And when he got to the back, he was screaming and cursing that someone had to get their moves in at the expense of a number of stories in the match. We are told McIntyre very loudly stormed out of the building and was gone well before the Rumble match ended. So a bit of drama there, apparently. Sounds like Drew McIntyre stormed out of the building, legit, and was very unhappy. That elimination was very weird. If we come to find out that it got fucked up in some way, I would not at all be shocked. Because I was very surprised at just how abrupt it was. Just didn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. Yeah. Well, we'll have to keep tabs on that story and see if there's any updates. Zachariah Sitchin. I acknowledge you, Solo. My streak of super chats ended. I won't let that deter me or define me. I am back. But here's my observation. What if it is a fatal 4-way? Cody, Roman, Punk, and Seth. See, I don't like that. I don't like just shoving those guys into just one giant match together. I'm not a fan of that. Havili, I'm guessing that the chamber match is for the Women's World Championship and the WWE Championships. Trish against Nia, or Trish and Lita against Nia and Candice. I don't know. The Trish thing could just be a one-off. I'm not sure if Trish is still going to be around or not. But I would imagine you're probably better off doing a tag match. Trish and Lita against Nia and Candice if you're going to do that. Super Pony. Last night, Punk told Kevin Owens he never lost to Logan Paul. Tonight, he got eliminated by him. See? That's why you don't shoot your mouth off. Schroeder, thank you for the membership. Project Libertad. Tony may book for the sickos, but Paul books for the brain-rotted. This Jey Uso experiment sucks and is the only negative in this new era of WWE. Well, they like their chants. They like their yeets. They love the bloodline. I don't know why you wouldn't expect that they would milk this for all that it's worth. Business-wise, it makes sense. Alfonso, noticing all the women in the Rumble match, thinking this women's division is stacked. Great show overall. Just wish my boy Joe Hendry was in the match longer. He was super over. Get well, Solo. Thank you, Alfonso. Ed Swoggle, I had number 14. Sonya Deville and The Miz. Tears up ticket. And I thought I had it bad. I just realized I got 2 members of the Judgment Day. I had Raquel and I had Dominic. But this is like, bootleg Judgment Day. This is not like the real Judgment Day. OM2 cool. AJ Lee returning seems like a pipe dream at this point, but so happy to see Alexa back. No Becky, though. When do you think she returns, Brother Solo? I think she'll be back before WrestleMania. So if I had to venture a guess, sometime in the next month. Project Libertad. I would rather watch 100 Learning Tree segments in a row than see Jay win a world title. He is going to make IWGP champion Moxley look like US champion John Cena. Bobby's World. First off, shout out to all the mods tonight who had their hands full. Props for keeping order in a sea of anarchy. Well, we always have a lot of people for these big PLEs, so yes. Shout out to all the good mods. Dallas Caballero. One thing I loved about the Rumble is it feels like everyone hates one another between Punk and Roman and Drew and Seth and Cody. Reminds me of 97 WWF with Brett, Austin, Taker, Shawn, and Sid. The angrier, the better. Yeah, it's about time people... It's about time that people start showing some anger. So, Henny God. Charlotte is the female Ultimate Warrior. No, she's not. I don't know if you lived through the Ultimate Warrior. Party on Sparty. 18. Those cheers for Charlotte are going to die down pretty fast. She's going to get that Batista treatment, especially if she wins at WrestleMania. That might be the idea. I think they're absolute fools if it's not the idea. If they go in there thinking that she's going to be the babyface, like legit, then they're fucking idiots. I would like to think they have a little more self-awareness than that. The token heel. Stuck in traffic, leaving the Rumble, drove down from Michigan, and I will say that I'm conflicted on the overall show. Personally, the overall show didn't hit the biggest Royal Rumble expectations. That's fair enough. Holiday. Where do you see Drew fitting into the WrestleMania card? Well, after this report about him storming out of the building, I don't know if he'll be on the WrestleMania card. I don't know. Maybe LA Knight or Orton, but nothing has been set up. Yeah, I just don't see that. I just don't see that. OM2 cool. Charlotte winning is so much worse than Jay's win. I agree. I would not have had her win the Royal Rumble. Bobby's World. Second, shout out to Solo, who is still pumping out content despite being under the weather all week. We appreciate you. Thank you, Bobby. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. Tracking problems. 30-man be the booker. Yeah, that's not happening. That's not happening. Although we did hit our second goal. So we have to do 2 separate rounds of be the booker tonight. So we'll get to that in a little bit. It says, his prediction, Al Bundy. Well, we've landed on Al Bundy and be the booker before, so anything's possible. Zizu gifted a membership to Avery. Thank you, Zizu. OM2 cool. Men's Rumble MVPs. Braun, Fatu, Punk, Cena, and Hendry. You forgot Penta. 42 minutes. Aaron Banks, has anybody checked on Rikishi? Yeet. Zizou. Not really sure how to feel after the Rumble. Watching Io and Punk get eliminated hurt my soul. Jay does deserve this, though. Dr. Wargod says, Jey Uso winning was a nice surprise. That Women's Rumble highlighted how weak that division is. Charlotte winning sucked. It should have been Raquel. In my... Raquel? Are you related to her in some way? Come on now. Come on now. OM too cool. Men's Rumble was so stacked, we got no legends. No, I mean we got a few surprises. Just not as many as the women's, you know? Look, the only surprise we had in the entire Men's Rumble last year was fucking Pat McAfee, who immediately eliminated himself. That fucking sucked. At least we got a few this year. Markel. Hey, what's going on, Markel? It's good to hear from you. Yeah, it's about time you commented here. 41 months of membership. The Juliet Megan Bain has signed with AEW. I thought she already did. I guess they made it official. Athletic Geek 89 with the $9.99. Seeing mixed reactions to Jay winning on social media, do you think this win best epitomizes the differences between the IWC mentality on wrestling and the mentality of WWE fans who enjoyed Jay winning? Yeah, but to say that, though, would imply that the entire IWC just doesn't like Jey Uso, which I don't think that's the case. I think you have fans who, you know, will prioritize work rate when it comes to world championships, which is fair. And Jay's moveset is very basic. You know, he just never evolved as an in-ring performer. And he clearly he hasn't had to, because the people still pop for the stuff that he does. I saw him do a Poison Rana in the Rumble tonight. I can't remember him doing that before. And I just always wondered, like, you know, why he doesn't add more. You know, especially like between him and Jimmy, they're just so similar. And Jay was getting this big singles push, and it's like, why wouldn't you want to incorporate new things to differentiate yourself? And he just never did. So, you know, the in-ring leaves a lot to be desired. But again, you can't argue how fucking over this guy is, because sometimes people will make connections. It's just something about their personality. You know, he's not even the most charismatic guy on the roster, but there's just something about him through that bloodline story that people came to like. And when you make that connection with the audience, that's a powerful thing. And not everybody can do that. You know, he's one of the lucky ones. He doesn't have to go out there and break his neck and do a million fucking, you know, Hurricane Ranas and high spots and stuff. And the people still love him for it. You know, that isn't the case with everybody. Nick Grasso says, great to see Alexa back, but where do we go from here? I think Liv and Raquel win the tag team titles before WrestleMania, because I don't see Bianca working a tag match again. So I think we get Liv and Raquel against Alexa and Nikki. That doesn't even make any sense to me. Like, they have to lose the titles first. So you're saying Liv and Raquel beat Bianca and Naomi and then defend against Alexa and Nikki. So you're saying just put her with the Wyatt Six. I mean, you could do that, but I guess we'll find out. Because based on the interaction with Alexa and Liv tonight, it certainly seems like a distinct possibility. Jamie Adams, a Solo, longtime fan. Keep up the great work, brother. Thank you, Jamie. Avatar, AJ Styles came back with his theme, Life is Good. Nick says, Drew McIntyre's, yep, just talked about this.
Off is a direction you can fuck.
Hey, Hydrograd, thank you for the 22. Merlot Williams. Oof, just got here after wrestling soup wrapped up. Sounds like you caught the plague. Thank you for the content. Thank you, Merlot. I appreciate that. It's a good thing I'm actually sick. If I wasn't sick and you said that same thing, I would be offended. M. Mills, thank you for the 50. Always showing love. I appreciate it. Bobby's World, do the podcast tomorrow in sign language. We'll figure it out. Well, that's going to be hard to do since it's an audio show and not video. A Gorilla, I for one am glad that Penta wasn't eliminated early by a botched spot. Yes, I mean, look, what did people want? They just wanted to call it like a shoot and just kick him out of there? Like, even if both feet touched, like, you fucking ignore it and you move. It was close enough, you ignore it and you move on and pretend it didn't happen. Oh, I'm too cool. I show speed be like I saw speed after that spear. His new name should be I saw my life flash before my eyes. That should be his new name. Base Beer says, you sound like RFK. Oh, don't say that. My God. Hype Man Slimy, you got a cold, Oos? Yeah, well, either that or the flu, but. Ian Noel. Sheamus also was eliminated fast. He threw Slater into the ring after Heath was beaten up and stopped from getting into the Rumble multiple times. And Heath clotheslined him out of the ring in 3 seconds. I don't remember that. I don't remember that. Thank you, Ian. Sarah. Long-time listener, first-time caller. First live stream. Solomonster, this PLE walled, and so do your reviews. Your voice sounds great. Keep it up. You're my goat. Thank you, Sarah. Of all the nights, too. Of all the nights, I always love talking about the Rumble. Just wish I could do it without being in pain, you know? David Thiering with the $80 super chat. You were saying about not singing tonight, Solomonster. Figured this was a good substitute. You might get a smile out of it. Much love. I always do. Thank you, David. Tongaloa superfan. Uh-oh. He's probably not very happy that Tongaloa was not in the Rumble tonight. Was it really obvious to you that they gave the Tongaloa spot to Jey Uso this year since he was still injured? I'm glad for Jey, though. The Tongaloa spot. Justin says, Solo doing his best Michael Cole here. Or is Michael Cole doing his best solo? Merlot says, no way. Punk's favor will play into Jay's win. I see. So the idea then, yeah, but see that, to me, that would make Punk an instant heel. Like, I don't think it would really fit Punk's MO to deprive Jay of a championship match that he earned, unless they're turning Punk heel. That's a heel move. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Off is a direction you can fuck.
David Thiering with the 40. Last one for tonight. This is your reminder to hit that like button. Otherwise, Goldberg will visit you in your sleep. Says, let's help make Solomonster feel a little bit better and blow past 1,000 likes. You know, I haven't even checked, but I'm pretty sure we are well beyond that. Yes, we're closing in on 1,100. So let's see if we could hit 1,100 likes. That'd be great. Project Libertad. Looks like Keith Lee was right. Poor Walter having to put over Jay. Man, did Jay Uso like steal money from you or fuck your girlfriend or something? Like, this is really like deep-seated hatred here. Base Beerus, Jay loses his title shot to Braun at the Chamber. Well, you know what? If he's dumb enough to put it on the line, then he deserves to lose it. Says, Jay is a B-plus player. They said the same thing about Daniel Bryan. But look what happened to him. Although Daniel Bryan could wrestle circles around Jey Uso. Ricky Cornflakes. Luka Doncic got traded to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. Really? When did this happen? This happened tonight? Brandon Vasquez. I'm fine with Jay winning. It's different if it makes sense with his story. For a split second, I thought maybe The Rock would come out at 31 after Jay won and screw him over. Well, I know Project Libertad would love that. Base Beerus. Punk in the Andre Battle Royal. He's going to be relegated to the Andre Battle Royal on SmackDown. That's going to be his punishment for not winning the Rumble. Chris Mikesell, hope you feel better. Thank you, man. Magnanimous Leonard Burnley. What a name. It's a new channel member. Thank you. Mystic J. I'm not sure if you noticed, but the way Charlotte won the Rumble tonight was the exact way she won in 2020. Beat by beat. Oh, with Shayna. Yeah, that's right. No, I didn't realize that until just now. Only instead of Shayna, he says it was Roxanne Perez. No, you're right. Manny says this is like WWE trading Roman Reigns for Cope. There's got to be more to this trade. This is the first I'm hearing of it, but that sounds pretty crazy. Sean Glenn, I would have rather seen LA Knight turn heel by giving a low blow or something to Cena and dumping him out of the ring to win in shocking fashion. Yeah, but that only makes sense if you do a WrestleMania match with John Cena and LA Knight, which they're not doing. Slipperhouse, extra, extra. John Cena's overacting drives me nuts. Yeah, you know what? I don't like it either. He's very, very goofy. He's very over-animated to the point where it's almost like he's just not taking it seriously. I agree. But that always drove me nuts. Even in his heyday, he would do that. It would just drive me nuts. C with the $6. I hope other wrestlers learn from this Rumble. Just get a good entrance song that the audience can take part in to get a Royal Rumble win. Insecure Skeletor. Hope you get better soon. Surprised by Jay winning. Does Punk win the Chamber and face Cody? Also, 3-way TLC with DIY Profits and the Motor City Machine Guns at WrestleMania. Well, I think the Street Profits almost have to win the titles. Like, it's been long enough. Like, this is it. The next shot they get, like, that's it. It's got to be their time. Otherwise, that's it. They're done. Like, just move on. Just disband the team or leave. Warhawk Rambo.
I am the learning tree.
Oh my God.
Thanks, guys.
Warhawk Rambo. Jey Uso as a world champion won't draw a dime. Lame and awful. Who says he's going to have a long run with it? They may just be going for the moment at WrestleMania. Base Beerus, we wanted to see a legend win tonight. You did. You saw the legendary Jey Uso win. Carlos, Triple H will pay for his crimes. EO was robbed. Holiday 197, do you see Drew winning King of the Ring this year and beating Jey at SummerSlam to win the World Heavyweight title? There were talks backstage of rewarding Drew for his recent work. Well, let's see, in light of these backstage reports tonight, and Drew supposedly storming out of the building very angry, let's see how that plays out. But I would think, if you asked me right now for like a favorite for King of the Ring, it would be Drew, with him winning the championship at SummerSlam. Crazy. Had a great time being at the Rumble. My voice is hoarse. Oh, boo-hoo. From screaming yeet and at IHOP with other fans after the show. Well, I'm glad you had a good time. I remember after Daniel Bryan won the title at WrestleMania in New Orleans, being in the crowd for that, chanting yes, leaving, going to Bourbon Street, and just Bourbon Street filled with wrestling fans doing the yes chant and other chants, and everybody was having a grand old time. It's always fun. It's always fun to be there in person. Jonathan Peters. I finally experienced the light of doom. Pretty much all of Section 151 was blinded by a light over 50% of the show. Could have been worse, but great show. Well, welcome to the club. We've all had to deal with the light of doom, unfortunately. We got hit by it at WrestleMania 35, which is why I missed the entire Randy Orton AJ Styles match that year. And then for the rest of the night, I saw little circles in my eyeballs. Base Beerus. I think Braun was upset at Cena. I could be wrong, but I think he rushed the spot and tossed Finn out without waiting for Braun to prepare. He was upset about something, that much was obvious. Former grandchild. The amount of absolute goofs who can't grasp why J1 is staggering. Slick Hitman shirt, by the way. Thank you. Thank you very much. I believe that is former grandchild's first super chat, so I appreciate that. OM2 Cool says, and Penta, Cero Miedo. West Coast James says, my God, your voice is awful. Feel better soon, Solo. Good Rumble, no Asuka. She'll be back soon. She'll be back, and Becky will be back very soon. Hydrograd. I agree with Dr. Wargod. Raquel should have won, not because it would have made any sense, but because I too had number 26 in the Rumble pool just like you. Well, see, that's a good reason, though. It's a selfish reason. I can accept that. Melik Gaming. Of course, I don't win anything in these pools. I mean, it's the official sound off pool, so I'm in it just for fun. I can't win, whatever the prize is. Obviously that would be a conflict of interest, so I don't get anything out of it. I'm just very competitive, I want to win. Tonight wasn't my night. Melik Gaming, I may get some hate for this, but I thought the Women's Rumble was kind of weak and predictable with the Charlotte win. Why would you get hate for that? That should be the consensus opinion. It was also cool for Jay to win, but I can't help but think if he wins the title, his reign will be short. Yeah, his reign is not going to be long. If he wins the title, it's not going to be a long reign. It could still be a few months, but you're not looking, I don't think you're looking at like, you know, even 6 months. I'm not sure he'd go that long with it, honestly. Ian Noel. Kofi was also a B-plus player in Brian's eyes, and look what happened to him at WrestleMania. By the way, the Sheamus fast elimination was during his Mohawk phase. The bar. By the way, I think Punk's favor may wait until after WrestleMania. Look, if they hold off until SummerSlam to do Punk and Roman, it could be even longer, right? No one said we have to find out what the favor is in time for WrestleMania. I mean, we probably will, but it's not like it has to be. Hydrograd, Cole at the end of that Rumble sounded just like he did during the WrestleMania 19 main event. If you remember, his voice was completely shot for that entire Angle-Lesnar match. I don't remember that, actually. Yeah. Project Libertad. Jey Uso, Kai Cenat, and ISHO Speed against Orange Cassidy and the Costco guys in a brain rot tag match while Family Guy and Subway Surfer footage plays in the corner. Jeremy Rose, what's up with all these Jay haters? Probably the same people that think Darby beating Mox will carry AEW to the top. I got news for you. There ain't nobody that can beat Mox that's under contract there that's going to take him to the top. Melik Gaming, DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, and Street Profits in a triple threat ladder match at Mania. What do you think? Get well soon. Get some Theraflu in your system, brother. I mean, that's similar to what somebody suggested before. They said like a three-way TLC. I could definitely see that. It's basically what we got last year. You know, we basically had a giant six-way, was it 6 or 8? 6 teams, right? Ladder match for both sets of tag belts. So it would kind of be repeating the same thing, but you could do it. It would be weird, though, if you also don't have a World Tag Team title match and only a WWE Tag Team title match. So you would have to have some kind of program for the War Raiders on the Raw side. So that one night you have a World Tag Team title match, and then the next night you could do a WWE Tag Team title match. All right, I'm caught up, finally, with all of your super chats. Good shit. Equa Dragon, get well soon. I guess it's going around, but feel better. Where's Bliss Fan? Are you happy now? Well, Bliss Fan is, I don't know if Bliss Fan's still here. Bliss Fan was here before. Bliss Fan is very happy. And I am happy for Bliss Fan. So, all right. You guys are getting 2 rounds of Be the Booker tonight because you earned it. So let's not waste any more time. Let's be the Booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now.
Look at this. No thumbnail. We're going right into it, baby.
Booker.
We're going right into it. I don't know why the way, but we're going to start with the tag teams. Here we go. 2 rounds of Be the Booker. All right. We begin with Edge and Christian. How many times were they? 7-time tag team champions in WWE? Pretty sure it was 7. Edge and Christian. We're going to be getting Cope and Christian at some point this year going after the AEW tag team titles. It may be Cope and Christian against the Hurt Syndicate. You watch. Edge and Christian against the Hart Dynasty. Good match. Good stuff. Solomonster said, no thumbnail. Let's just get this shit over with. Oh, my goodness. All right, women's Be the Booker. We begin with, look at this, a heartwarming image, a heartwarming family reunion with Mariah May and a very bloody Toni Storm. This is Mariah May, the AEW Women's World Champion, taking on Saraya. How are we feeling about this? Mariah May, Saraya. I give that the bell. Even though we haven't seen much of Saraya recently, I do like me some Mariah May. Mariah May is very good. All right, main event. We're back to the bloodline, guys. Yokozuna. You can't escape. You just can't escape the bloodline. They're everywhere. Yokozuna against Kevin Owens. And apparently, Kevin Owens can't escape the bloodline either. He continues to be stuck in bloodline hell. This poor bastard. Oh, this poor bastard. Man. Yeah, that would be an interesting match. It would be a better match if it was not Yokozuna when he was at his most morbidly obese, where he could barely move and do anything. He used to be very fleet of foot when he was like in the 500-pound range. All right, one more round. We have the New Day. And we're going with Freebird rules, so take your pick. Whichever two members of the New Day. Against Kane and the Undertaker. Brothers of Destruction against the New Day. That's a big match. Chris Statlander, the former TBS champion, going to be taking on Tegan Nox. And WWE had such high expectations for Tegan at one point. It's just a shame, you know, how those injuries just derailed her career. But she's first now making it out onto the indie scene, so we'll see if she's got that comeback in her. We'll find out. Now we have our main event. For the main event, I'm going to pick a step. We'll pick a stipulation for the main event. Now, Tegan Nox is no longer with WWE. In fact, I think her non-compete, I think, just expired. All right, steel cage match. Very good. Here we go. We have a cage match, classic cage match in the main event. Bo Dallas all right. Bo Dallas. Man. I really thought we were going to have 2 clean sweeps. I don't like where this is headed. I don't like where this is headed. Well, how about that? I stand corrected. I was all ready to hit the buzz And we land on The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Bray and Bo in a cage. How about that? Is that not eerie? Holy shit. That's right. What are the fucking odds of that? I'm sure that's a match they would have loved to have had at some point. Never got the chance, but they did tonight in Be the Booker. And see, that is a fine way to end things. I want to thank you guys for sticking with me. We had upwards of 35 or 3,600 people tonight. Hopefully I didn't scare away too many more. Again, I apologize for the way I sound. I sound awful. I've been sick now for really since Wednesday. I'm sure doing all of these shows is probably prolonging this, but my throat is really bad shape right now. But I am still planning on getting somehow a podcast done tomorrow. With any luck, maybe I'll sound a little bit better, but we'll see. And there'll be, one way or the other, there'll be a lot of content coming to the channel this week. So keep it locked here. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out. If you're new here, enjoy your stay. I promise I'll sound better at some point. I promise. We got a couple of final super chats coming in. You guys want to keep me around, huh? Is that what you want to do? Who do we have here? I hit the wrong button. Base Beerus. On the night that Alexa, you know what? I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. That's right. On the same night that Alexa Bliss returned, we did Bray and Bo in Be the Booker. How about that? Bliss fans going to love that. And MR, I really thought the favor was going to be Brock at 30, cleaning house for Punk and then leaving. Well, if you thought that Brock was going to be back after the news of the last few days, then I don't know what to tell you, brother, because that wasn't going to happen. There was no chance of that happening. And I would not plan to see him anytime soon. Thank you again. Be well. Stay safe. I will see you back here for more Sound Off very soon and on the podcast at some point later in the day tomorrow. Until then, take care, guys.